Now I know where you are, right?
That was a terrifying noise. Who was that?
What the hell was that?
Did we go
I
live there?
just felt like doing it.
Yes.
Well, that was literally...
That went out, James.
Yeah, that was
went
literally
out.
just as we went live.
Brilliant.
That was just as we went live.
So,
Someone clip that, please. Someone clip that. What was that?
blimey.
I just sort of went.
I do not want to hear your sex noises.
We just did.
Yeah,
We
I don't
just
want to
did.
hear it. Right.
recorded for posterity.
Let me just start by saying, everyone watching, hello, how are you doing? I'm a little bit pissed off at the moment
All right.
because James has come in with his flag. I'm all for it. I'm all
What's wrong
up
with
for
that?
that. Yeah, absolutely nothing up with that. But when I saw James and then decided to add my flag, apparently I'm not allowed to do that. The boys have said that I can't do that. I don't know why. I've deleted it now. There's all that build up and I've deleted it. That's a shame. I had the St George's flag and they called me out on it. So wasn't allowed to use it. So enjoy, James.
Why can't we have a bit of national pride, Dave? Hey, hey.
Do you know what?
wrong with that?
That's something that when I was growing up, I was always like jealous. Oh, you go to America, the flags everywhere. You go to Wales, there's flags everywhere. And then I got to the point where I started seeing people cry singing the national anthem at sporting events, and I thought, oh no, I don't want that.
Yeah, it's
at
weird.
all.
Yeah, it's
That's
true.
a bit weird, isn't it?
It's true, isn't it? Like every other country I've gone to where it's like that, it's like it's just it feels a bit embarrassing, doesn't it? Like having this
Yeah.
everywhere.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, you from here, are you? Okay.
Yeah, no, I liked it when I went to America because I'm like they got some pride in it, and also now our flags, both the Union flag and the English flag, feel like they've been, taken over by right wing twats
Right.
basically.
But
It
what's
feels
to be
like
proud of that you were born somewhere?
I just think it's nice to have national pride, whereas we can't do that because
I
those
think it's
symbols
like-
now,
that's
those
what I'm
symbols
saying,
now are
like-
like actually the sign of horrendous shit.
This is a 3-hour bonus pod, this.
Yeah, let's get into it.
The 3-hour bonus pod. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, the QuickBooks chap, for the sub. Appreciate y'all,
and Jack Miller.
as usual.
And
sorry?
Jack Miller, thank you, Jack Miller.
And Jack Miller.
Terziak with the clip there, very nice.
James
Save
doing
that.
So we should just get into it, right? Because I'm excited. It's going to be a long show tonight.
Yep.
You know how sometimes we go, that'll be a quick one. No, it's going to be a long show.
It's going to be a long one.
So, try and stick
Strap in. Well, I mean, we
Thanks,
say
Chris,
long.
man.
We say long, it'll be long, and James will be complaining after about an hour saying, too long this show.
Well, we've got lots of news to cover.
I was going to say the news is going to be the longest bit, so we can't complain.
Yeah,
well, he will
because-
still complain. He'll complain that everyone else's section should be shorter.
When James was here last, massive news section. Last week, actually, we had some news, but not a lot. And this week, massive news again. So
Yeah, they wait for the newsman to be about.
yeah, it's no point wasting the news on us three before. Like, save that till big newsman on campus is back.
Okay, all right, let's do it, shall we? Oh, thanks for the sub, Luke Cage. Appreciate y'all. Right, that's let's get going. Okay, everyone hit record.
Oh shit. Okay.
It's
Oh my
just
God, James,
every
how-
week.
every time.
Oh, I've hit it. I've pressed it. Yeah.
He's hit it.
I've hit it.
He's hit it.
All right,
Six
all right,
months.
Richard
Fucking hit it.
Keys.
He's hit-
Right, 3, 2, 1.
Matt.
Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Sean Bell,
Hello.
Matt Murray,
Hello.
and returning is James Farley.
Hello.
Return of the Mac Daddy.
Once again.
That's it, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the nickname.
Is that your new? Is that the new nickname? Mac Daddy Newsman.
Oh, I'll take it. Yeah, it's fine.
we'd like to start the show by thanking our Patreon producers for this month. They are Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, Simon Nelson, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights are Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gazman, Rocketman76, Grey Dragon Claw, Fred Fenge, Smooth Monkey, Don Whiskerando, Colin Smith, Richard Sawyer, Jonathan Edwards, and Tom S. They are the crew. They're the crew. They're the Full Nels crew, and we really appreciate each and every one of you for signing up at patreon.com/TCGS, going Full Nels. And thank you so much for the support. And you too can support us by going to patreon.com/TCGS. You don't have to go Full Nels, although you bloody should.
I thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah, no, I thoroughly recommend it too. You get name read out and all that.
It's really good for my heating bills.
Various different tiers, haven't we? We've got a bonus show coming up soon. We've got the heists starting this week in Grand Theft Auto. So get over to patreon.com/TCGS and just pick a tier. Scroll down to the bottom, preferably. You can also get, pardon me, Windy Pops. You could also get Marvel calls a week early, which means that this week you'll get to hear Ant-Man. Worried about that one going out, James? I'm worried about that one. We'll talk
I can already guess why. And I don't...
We'll talk about it on the bonus show, I think.
Yeah.
There's stuff around that episode that maybe doesn't come across in the call that maybe we need to discuss a little bit. But that was a wild episode.
I've got to admit that it's one of my favourites. Honestly,
Really?
It's one of my favourites we've done. 100%.
Really? Okay. Okay. If you've not signed up, then you get Avengers: Age of Ultron this week, which I think is a decent episode. But okay, that's enough of that. James, you weren't here last week. I can't wait to hear your feedback.
I very much enjoyed the show. I thought it was good.
Here comes the gut punch, though. Here comes the gut punch, Sean.
There was some criticism thrown my way, like throughout the episode. But
by whom?
I mean, most of this was, it was valid criticism, and I've internalised that criticism, and I'm going to try and move on and be a better person.
Right, okay, break it down then. Which ones have you taken?
No, I've put it out of my mind now.
He hasn't made any notes, Dave.
He's not written anything down.
No.
This is all
I do not remember
He's not even listened to it.
The criticism I heard when I was listening, I thought, I understand where that's come from, and I'm going to take that on board.
Well, to take it on board, you have to know what the criticism is, James.
No, because I've internalised it, so I don't need to.
No, you must. If you're taking it on board, you must know what that criticism is.
I can't remember. But
wow.
I know that there was just the usual jibes about not being committed to the show. You're
just proving it now, James. You're proving it now. You haven't internalised it at all. Oh, all these jibes about me not being committed to the show. Did you take notes from last week?
They're usual ones. You always get those, isn't it?
James is like, it's all the usual ones. Like, I can't do 10 strikes in a row in bowling. Can't do 100-meter sprint in 5 seconds. All the usual
standard stuff.
It's just the usual stuff, like James is tired. James hasn't done anything. James is like, isn't here as usual.
But if they're the usual complaints, James, then maybe do something about it, mate.
That's what I said. That's what I said. I said I internalised that.
Yeah, you said that, but to prove that, you haven't taken any notes from last week.
Because I didn't need to, because it's the same old shit that you always come up with.
It's a never-ending circle, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
It's a never-ending circle.
It's the same old shit you do every time, so it's like, what's
How
the
were you last week, mate?
Shit.
Were you all right last week?
It was
you had a nice little break.
You have a nice time?
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, it was fantastic, yeah.
That's sarcasm, isn't it? Blimey.
It's absolutely
the sarcasm
had a wonderful week off.
I don't know how much you can say really, but when you're dealing with your kids all week and you've got your mate complaining because he has to socialise.
And he's a tour of the continent.
It's a bit of pill to swallow.
I'm not going to engage with this because it's just such bullshit. No idea whatsoever, and just like oh poor me all the time. It's just pathetic. Go on, let's move on.
Let's move on. Matt, should we get to the feet? I mean, they must have all loved it last week, surely.
There's a lot of feedback, so I think they did. We're going to start with Big San Allardyce. Up, lads. I've got a perfect solution for your problems with young James. You see, the problem with the lad is his stamina has gone. Much like an ailing star striker that shows brief signs of genius, but is really past his best. He needs to be rested properly and only brought out when it is absolutely necessary. Obviously, you need him for the news, and you can give him a few minutes after that to tell us what he's been playing. But once that's done, you need to sub him off. Get some young blood in that's got the staying power to listen to what the rest of you have been playing and still have some left in the tank for some banter on the listeners' questions. You know how hard that wife of his works in during his downtime? Changing light bulbs, putting up curtains, it sounds exhausting. The boy needs a rest if you want the best from him, especially now he's transferred to Bavaria and he's an hour ahead. And it was just an idea from someone who's seen it all before. Keep up the good work. BS.
Cheers, BS. James, thoughts?
Well, it's the same stuff, isn't it? I mean, it's just coming. It's coming from
It's
everywhere.
going to be your response to any bit of criticism now.
Yeah, because it's just the same old stuff, isn't it? It's just the same old having a go, slagging me off, just because I care too much. You know, it's just like it's ridiculous.
No, I think they're saying you don't care enough, James.
I don't know how. I don't know why that comes across.
I
Honestly,
mean, well, maybe because you fully checked out about midway through the episode you're on last.
don't remember that, Matt. How did I do that?
Sleep, don't know.
Oh, this just got serious. Then did you hear that? That just
The tone changed.
Tone
Yeah.
shifted. James just got serious with Matt. Then
Just turned
look
nasty,
at him.
hasn't it?
No, don't look at him. It's a podcast,
No,
isn't it?
I can't. It's also there's a flag in the
Go
way.
on.
I'm Patrick, the QuickBooks chap. Good morning, or just a bit of feedback regarding last week's Twitch revenue share chat. I agree that a review of the 50-50 split should be considered in favour of the creator, but I don't think Amazon would have much headroom to go much further than, say, 60-40. If you think about it, Amazon is not having to worry about providing a service for the creators, making a good amount of revenue each month, but their concern is of the platform as a whole. So for every ninja, thousands or even tens of thousands of creators are making no revenue, but they still have a similar cost infrastructure that Twitch has to maintain. I myself am part of the issue. I have a small live podcast based on QuickBooks, and we have an audience on YouTube and Facebook of all places. But we also have the option to stream simultaneously to Twitch. And as a marketing person, why wouldn't I take up this option? Streaming to Twitch is free, and despite the fact we would be lucky to get a single viewer at any time, the exposure option would be silly to be ignored. So how much are we alone costing Amazon and Twitch, as I said, streaming services to sometimes sometimes no one at all? I think the only way to do a fair split for the platform is that Twitch would need to reconsider the subscription costs for all creators looking to stream, or which would be catastrophic for a smaller creator. So personally, I feel like a system where the most popular streamers keep the platform accessible for up-and-coming streamers isn't ideal, but surely a fairer system overall.
Okay.
That's an interesting point.
Amazon made over $400 billion last
But
year
yeah,
in the US.
that's the I think Amazon would be all right. I mean, it's definitely valid to point out that yes, like effectively, like anyone can like turn up on Twitch and effectively create a cost for Twitch, right? Just by using the service. But I think Amazon would be all right somehow.
We're gonna stop.
Yeah, that's getting bad, isn't it?
That's really bad. Your hissing's really bad, Matt, and I'm assuming that's coming through on the stream. That's my concern. Yeah,
it does sound like
Phil,
rain, doesn't
Phil's
it?
picked it up, yeah. Does sound like rain, yeah.
And now it's gone again.
All right. I mean, I can't hear a thing. Well, I can hear some hissing.
You won't be able to hear it, Matt.
Yep.
Through this, then.
I mean, if it happens again, I think we just have to crack on, right? Because we can't keep stopping the recording
I guess.
for that. I don't think it's offensive.
It's annoying though, especially because I can't hear it, so I can't even diagnose it.
Terziak says it's calming.
Okay, all right.
How can we run with it?
We're doing a bit of ASMR up in here tonight. Oh, hold on.
Hang on.
Fucking around with my chair. Just edit it out. It's fine.
I don't think it's even appearing on the recording, is it, Matt?
Who's Kokami fucking talking to? Just edit it out. It's fine. Who are you? You're the producer now, are you,
Well,
Kokami?
he's a professional podcast editor.
Yeah, but he's not even fucking watching, though, is he? Look, his little symbol there. He's not even got the fucking...
He's not got the video on.
Who does he think he
Unbelievable.
is?
Yeah, I mean, on my, there's no sound at all on.
I think we just ignore it.
Right,
and
the
go with
recording's fine then. Yeah, we
Yeah,
just carry on.
fine.
Okay. Right. Yeah, pay Cami. Right, okay. What was the last thing we said?
Amazon are rich.
it. Yeah, Amazon
Yeah,
Rich
Amazon
is
are
fine.
rich.
Okay.
I think Sean was saying it is interesting that they'll have to take on a cost.
Okay, I know. Yeah, no, there is something to be said that all sides of a business needs to be profitable, and if they're not profitable based on the revenue share, would they have to start charging streamers to use their service? I guess is a worse option than what they're doing. I think maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly worse for sort of smaller streamers and stuff. So yeah, it's tough, isn't it? It is tough. It's not as straightforward, but you do kind of think, how it's the power shift, isn't it? What's more powerful? Is the platform or the talent more powerful?
Mm.
And
from
unfortunately,
Amazon's perspective,
really,
it's the platform, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, really, because there is no alternative, it is the platform. Yeah, because every time the talent has gone to try another service, they have not pulled it off.
But I mean, YouTube streaming is gaining momentum. It's bringing in a lot more people. The hours are going up. So this, they can't keep doing this for too long. At some point, they have to be a bit more aggressive, I think, with the revenue splits to keep people on the platform.
Yeah, we'll see.
But as we spoke about before, they've got a magic thing whereby Amazon owns them. Prime owners or Prime members get the free sub. That is huge for people like us.
Yeah, I mean, you look at our split between people that actually pay for a sub and people who use their Prime sub. It's it's not even close. Pretty much everyone uses their Prime sub, which is brilliant. It really helps us out. But it does make you think: would we? It's not like we make a lot of money out of Twitch anyway, is it? Really, right? We barely make a tenner each.
It's worth showing up. It's worth doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not compared to the Patreon stuff.
No. Oh, right.
Right, Ricky Rice Cooker. Sean, on the subject of toaster ovens, due to landlord stinginess, I'm not bothering to install an oven in my flat. I have a Sage Smart Oven. It's a great, if pricey, desktop oven air fryer. It's essentially a super high-end version of a toaster oven. Ironically, it's fucking shit at toast because these things can't cook the toast as quickly due to the heating elements being further away. It really dries the bread out on the inside, and if you like well done toast, it might as well be Melba toast by the time it's done.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great. What happens if you air fry bread? You spray
I've not tried that. Have you tried that yet?
No. Spray it in oil.
God, fried slice got unpopular quickly, didn't it? When everyone realised that everyone was, getting very, very ill from the amount of fat they were eating. But I remember my nan used to do fried slice all the time. It's ridiculous. It was so stupid. It's just like, it was just like eating like sawdust dipped in like oil. It was so weird.
It was nice though.
Good.
I used to
It
like
was
them.
nice, wasn't
but never eat them anymore.
I
Is
don't
that
want
just
to
fried bread?
air fryers,
What's
actually,
fried slice?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had it.
Is it fried bread?
Slice. Yeah,
Just fried bread.
Fried bread.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fried bread's amazing.
Call it fried slice round now. Was what do you want to ask me about air fryers, James? Because I'm not the person to ask.
Maybe we'll do it on the bonus show or whatever because I've got.
Oh, there's
about
a
air
tease,
fryers.
isn't it? Cool,
Yeah.
fucking hell, we're gonna get flooded with people
Sobs.
signing up now. Yeah, we'll talk air fryers on the bonus show. Fine.
Brilliant. Go on.
Okay, Kurt Lewin. In last week's show, I've heard perhaps the most outrageous opinion that has ever been spoken on TCGS.
Uh-oh.
We need to talk about toasters. On last week's episode, you described the hotel toaster as being the best. I had to rewind to see if I was hearing you correctly. In my view, the hotel toaster is perhaps the worst invention of the 21st century. Here is why. For a start, they take ages, so you're always waiting in a queue longer than the one to see the Queen.
Hold on. Right, let's go through this piece by piece, because firstly, I don't think that's true, is it? A normal
He's
toaster takes
overstating for effect.
Right, okay.
I think it's because you're in the queue, isn't it?
Hold on. Sean, I wasn't questioning that it was as long as the queue.
Oh, right, okay. You just about it takes ages.
Whether
Okay,
it took long.
I get that though because you're worried because you're in the queue and you're like, there's only a limited number of sausages and all that kind of thing available. So you're like, I need to get this toast quick so I can get onto the other stuff. And then you're standing in a queue for ages.
Yeah, but hold
because
on.
of the thing.
It's quicker. No, it's quicker than a normal toaster. 100%.
You think so?
Yeah.
I would have thought so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think we should
sure
read
about
the whole thing because some of it sort of intertwines.
All right. Some of it intertwines.
Right, we'll move on to the next point. The wait is only made longer when you get to see the people when you get the people that see their toast come out not cooked exactly how they like it. So either stick it under again or get a new piece of bread. This can go on for multiple slices if they judge the settings and end up burning the toast. If by some miracle you get to the front of the queue before the bread you're holding goes mouldy from the weight, you then have to adjust the setting of the dastardly equipment to meet your recommendations, alternatively go with the current setting, which may produce something resembling charcoal. Fair enough. Some of these latter issues you may also encounter if the hotel had a regular toaster. However, the conveyor belt of misery is always on belting out heat, which will make the sun blush, making it incredibly environmentally unfriendly, whereas the standard toaster is only on while cooking toast. I was about to finish my feedback, but I've just thought of another reason why they're the worst. If you see the toast is cooked as you like it mid-cycle, you may decide, as I have seen many people do, to stick your hand into the machine to grab it out early, running the risk of burning your hand in the process on the metal grid and booking yourself to A&E in the process. Pain and misery, the worst invention of all time.
Right,
So-
I mean, Kurt, I've usually got a lot of time for Kurt. I've usually got a lot of time. In fact, I think privately in our WhatsApp group, I said this might upset a few people. I think I said he might be my favourite listener. Right? Yeah? Kurt, that's where you are in my books, mate. You've wildly let yourself down here tonight.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
It sounds like you don't know how to use them. Is that the feeling you're getting, Sean?
Well, so the reason I was saying it sort of intertwines somewhat. So he's saying they're slower than regular toaster. That is not true, and the reason that's not true is because it is on constantly. So he's criticising it for being environmentally unfriendly. Yes, but that's why it's actually much quicker at toasting your toast.
Okay, right. There's no heat up process.
Okay,
exactly.
It's
just
constantly... Let me tell you this.
Go on.
I would argue against the environmentally unfriendly thing. I think it is more environmentally unfriendly if you're doing it for one person. But in the morning, everyone in my fucking flat is having toast. So the amount of times Joe would toast two slices of bread. Yeah. But the timing on the toaster, Sean, if you put a second lot in straight away, it doesn't account for the extra heat that carries over from the first batch. So it's always burnt. So we have to do it again. So technically, that's using up more needless energy.
False economy. It's a false economy.
False economy, it is. Also, they usually have a little dial, don't they? And you just change the dial to what you want.
Yeah, you just shift it around, don't it?
And the good thing is, you're standing behind someone, you could go, oh, that toast looks a little bit too brown for my liking. It's going down a little bit. And that dial's going down. So you haven't found the dial. That's the second thing. Yep. Thirdly, it looks cooler. You haven't
100%. Yeah, it's nice thing going down the little conveyor belt.
It's like a little robot, and it like serves you toast.
it's like going to Krispy Kreme, seeing the donuts being made, but toast.
I just think it's the stress of it, of being in the queue. That's the only thing.
Do you remember when Krispy Kremes first come out, and they used to have the conveyor belts that went around pretty much the whole fucking restaurant thing, and then loads of these donuts would be going past, and they went quickly because people just used to nick them. Where I was from, sorry, Sean.
It's all right. I was just going to say my only experience of these is obviously yes, it's like a hotel breakfast buffet set up, and I've never seen one with a queue. So for me, it was a very leisurely post the bread in the machine. Yeah. Wander around, get everything else you want, and then go back. There's your toast. Off you go.
Here's what I think's happened, Sean. I bet you're like me. You're down at that buffet nice and early, aren't you?
Oh, aye.
Yeah. you get down there nice. I've got a feeling Kurt's getting in there. If it stops at 10:30, he's down there at 10.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful with that as well, though, because sometimes if you get there too early, the good stuff hasn't been brought out yet. And
that has not been my experience.
What kind of establishments are you going to where the stuff isn't there because you're too early?
Why would they be holding stuff back?
No. Yeah, sometimes
just save them.
Sometimes in some of the places I've been, it's like you go out there, you're like, oh, there's some sausage, there's some bacon, that's nice. There's some I don't know, fried eggs.
The good stuff.
Yeah, there's some fried eggs. I fancy some scrambled eggs. There aren't any, and then they bring them out later. And it's,
why do you ask?
If you want scrambled egg over fried egg, then you deserve all you get, mate. that's what I got to say. Yeah, you deserve that fucking.
James, I'm a scrambled egg man. I'm with you.
Of course you are. Of course you are. Well done. You're in good company.
I quite like it too.
You happy with that? Oh, what bunch of bloody nerds I'm working with.
But no,
Alright.
this notion that they save the best stuff until
No, it's,
late,
it's
I
not
don't-
saving the best stuff. It's just
It's
that
the
sometimes...
opposite, isn't it? Because when you get there at 10 o'clock, it's literally the dregs.
No, that's what I'm saying. You don't go right at the end, but if you're there right at the beginning, sometimes they haven't brought everything out. Like, seriously.
Well, no, that's a shit hotel then.
No, okay, right. Should we move on?
Yes, please.
Probably
Hack
should.
on Lingstad. Never heard of a narrowboat before. Even though longboats used to be a thing here in Norway, you should go for it for next TCGS con. My stepdad used to have a sailboat when I was growing up, and the ceiling was too low inside the bedding chamber or whatever it's called. It, like in a coffin. Also, the smell of diesel was horrible down there. Felt like Dracula at a classic car convention. In the end, my mum sold his sailboat, probably not behind his back, in order to finance a year learning Spanish in Andalusia. The buyer was a Danish falafel maker in the Norwegian city Trondheim. Always raining there, he intended to live in the blasted thing. A year later, his business was bankrupt, it seems. Haven't seen the boat since. My mum and this is quite a story. My mum and my stepdad came home just before the pandemic. His kidneys were acting up in a big way, and my mum got a leave from her work for various reasons. While out from work, she decided to pick up the Switch and Animal Crossing. She used to tell me off for playing games growing up. Now she's played New Horizons for more than 2,000 hours herself.
Oh,
She
for
even
a
bought
moment then, I thought you meant Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know why that came with New Horizon. Yeah, Animal Crossing, right? Yeah, okay.
She used to tell me off for playing games growing up. Now she's played New Horizons for more than 2,000 hours herself. Wow. She even bought an extra Switch, the limited edition Animal Crossing one, so she can have more than one island. Both are named after regions in Spain, and she plays in Spanish on one of them. Sorry for the long message. This is what the narrowboat thing made me think of. I'm out drinking with a friend who's been in the bathroom for ages. I should probably check on it now. Splashy.
Actually, I would like to see more of that from our listeners when they're sending feedback in. Like, when and where are you sending that feedback?
The
because I do want to know, like, at what point are people doing it, like, on the flight? Like, I'm on the train and I've got to let them know that I'm angry, or I've thought about it all day and now I'm in my office just before bed and writing this in. So that's good. Oh, thanks for that, Hakon.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a shame my parents didn't get into it, but my mum did go quite a dab hand in Fortnite.
Oh, Ninja.
yeah.
We'll call her.
That's what we'll call her. Okay.
Ben Dobson, feedback on last week's episode. Evening, gents. On last week's episode, you discussed a recent price increase for games on the Apple App Store in Europe and Asia and wondered if this could happen to Xbox/PlayStation games. This is unlikely, as Apple's price fluctuations are all due to currency and have been since the App Store launched in 2008. Essentially, every developer can set prices based on a tier of US prices, with the lowest being 99 cents, then $1.99, $2.99, etc. These tiers automatically set pricing in other countries and account for things like VAT, whereas US prices have never and likely will never change. David said this price increase had only happened once before. Remember the 69p apps? But alas, he is incorrect. The cheapest level was 59p in 2008, 69p in 2011, 79 in 2015, 99 in 2017, but then decreased to 89p, the current level in 2021. This is all clearly linked to the difference between the UK and US currencies. So yes, it's a miracle we didn't get hit by this last week as well.
And you wonder why I don't take notes. If I'd have done this and come on the show with this, you'd have taken me apart in the beginning. If I'd have given you feedback on this.
What are you saying about Ben Dodson? What are you saying
I'm saying it's valuable
feedback, James?
I'm saying it's valuable feedback that if it had come from my mouth would not have been valuable feedback.
Oh, because you would have done it in your way. Go on.
So one minor curveball. When the price increased from 79 to 99p after the Brexit vote in 2017, Apple gave devs a way to charge just 49p for an app in the UK and still have it be 99 cents in the US. I don't know why they did that, and as far as I'm aware, nobody took advantage of the offer. I'm the guy in this article saying why the hell are they bothering with this. There's a link to a BBC News story. Anyway, keep up the great pod. Ben Dobson.
Cheers, Ben. I don't really know what to say, but there's a bit of feedback there on something we spoke about last week. Should we move on?
Yes, move on.
I mean, what did we say? I can't say anything.
Yeah.
No, I think all the answers
are good information. Nothing we can add to it. Thank you.
Yeah. I swear to God, James, if you come with anything like that in the future, I will absolutely tear you a new one.
In the end of
Counting on
Gabs Savannah, when Dave said he wanted the Cube in VR, did he mean the Philip Schofield game show or the 1997 film? I feel these will be very different VR experiences.
Why would I mean the 1997 film? Why would
Love it.
It's
Garrison?
like a
Come on.
sci-fi horror thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Is
like
it?
a mad
Yeah.
prison and people get killed in traps
They
and
got to
stuff.
do the little games and stuff to get out of the
Yeah,
cube. don't they?
basically. It's basically the same
Kind
thing.
of.
Basically the same
Schofield,
thing.
don't they?
Or murder. That is it for feedback. Go to tcgs.co/dear tcgs to leave your feedback.
James, last week, barely any news. The week before that, tons of news. This week, tons of news. Is the news waiting for the newsman?
It is. There's tons of news.
Newsman
Like-
cometh.
And I mean, the thing is I'm also. I mean, I'm really sad about this. Like, I've got to start the story. I've got to start the news with a sad story, and I've been thinking about this all week, and I'm really sad
I bet you have.
that this has happened. That it's
Moments
come
like
to this. So anyway, Shenmue's animated series has been cancelled.
Oh,
see,
what?
Over-egged the build up there, didn't he, Sean? He over-egged it just a little
I
bit.
don't think it was that bad.
Yeah, it was a little bit pantomime.
It
A
was
little
alright.
bit pantomime. He knew
Bit
what
too
he was
much?
doing, the lad. Yeah, a little bit too much. Go on.
Well, anyway, the Shenmue's animated series has been cancelled. So yeah, this is a shame. I mean, a second series was going to
Are we
happen, but
ever
it's now
gonna
been.
find out what the fuck happened to that fucking bloke? Are we ever
We're never going to find out.
I was going
That's
to
not
say,
what-
I was going to
Sword
ask,
we will
like,
not
started
find out.
floating.
I was going to ask, what's the reason for it being cancelled? But it's because no one would really watch it, isn't it? That's,
Yeah, that's the answer. Can I ask you something, right? Can we just do Shenmue 3 spoilers now, please?
Oh,
'Cause
God,
it's been
yeah,
out
yeah,
for
whatever.
2 years, right? Okay. So, here's what I remember. The first film, the first game, who's the bad guy in it?
Landy.
Landy kills Shenmue's dad. And
That's his
Why
name.
can't Shenmue crawl?
I forgot Shenmue was a tree, which made me wet myself at the end of Shenmue 2 when I found out, oh, it's a tree. My parents called it Shenmue. Are you fucking kidding me? That's what we were building up to. Right, okay. So Shenmue's dad dies at the start of Shenmue 1. Landy gets away. You spend the whole day trying to find Landy. You find out Landy gets away to another country, right? That's Shenmue 1
China.
done.
Yeah.
Shenmue 2, you go to that country, you chase down Landy again, nothing really happens. You find Landy, and then you go, and then he goes away, and then you go to some forest or some shit.
Yeah, you go through you meet up with Shenhua, who's like
Right,
this other
who you
character,
were destined to meet, right?
Yeah,
You've been
yeah,
having
yeah.
visions of her for throughout the 2 games. You meet her. There's a floating sword for some reason, if I remember correctly, in a cave.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Literally, nothing happens.
because the Phoenix Mirror, Dave.
Right?
Everyone-
Yeah, but the Phoenix Mirror. There's 2 Phoenix Mirrors, right?
Yeah, there's 2.
And
Yeah.
you need them together. And Landy was after the Phoenix Mirror that you've now got, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What happens by the end of Shenmue 3, James?
Right. You end up in China, which is a very poorly observed version of China from like the 1980s or whatever. There's nothing like that. And you spend most of the time trying to get out of a village, and then you go to a town. And then when you're in the town, you have a big fight at the end, and you're still no closer whatsoever to finding out what's gone on.
So is Landy even in that? The third one?
I don't remember him being in it
Wow.
actually. I remember him being mentioned, but I don't remember him actually.
Holy
No, I
shit.
think
If you,
I think he
Go on.
might have been right at the end.
Hold on.
But this is ages ago.
Scientologist in the chat is saying you fight him, James.
Do we? I don't remember.
Do
This-
we?
Oh, do we?
but you
Do
don't
we?
get him. That's the problem. If you're making Shenmue 3, I don't care what I've got another 9 episodes planned. You're not George Lucas. Stop it. People have been waiting ages for Shenmue 3. You make sure that in Shenmue 3 you fucking get Landy and you win. Right? That's what you
But no,
need
it's
to.
like-
That's what Shenmue 3 needed to do. That's the only thing. If it was
Yeah, it's
one
the only
fight
thing it
where you just
needed
beat
to
the
do.
piss out of Landy, like, yes, good, close the book. We've done it. But
Look,
you wouldn't even let us have that.
But
I
he got
love
away,
Shen-
as Scientologist said. He got away
I
again.
was absolutely blown away. I was absolutely blown away that I ended up enjoying Shenmue 1. Right, it had its problems. Of course it did. It's a really old game. But I somehow got enjoyment out of it. Didn't really like Shenmue 2, but, I appreciated some of the stuff it did. It's all about the characters in that game. There's some really good characters, and you fall for some of them, and you really care about others, right? But the fucking plot is dire, isn't it? It's absolutely appalling. The thing that stitches it together is ridiculous. You take away the revenge stuff from the first game, I think it might be a better game. I think it might be a better game if you're just wandering around living
Just
your
a
life.
slice of life.
In the first game.
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's never going to be finished. Like, it's never going to be finished. And at this stage, I mean, the sad thing is I really cared about this series a lot. Now I don't really care that much. Like, after playing the third one, I'm just thinking, I don't think I can do that again. Like, go through another one, which is just, you know, he gets away again at the end, or there's no resolution whatsoever. It's just really sad.
Well, that's as Sean said. There's one thing that third game should have done, and that's wrapped it up. Like, just wrap it up. That's all you got to do. It doesn't matter if you had like a vision in your head. Wrap it up, because it's the only chance you're getting to wrap it up. No one's gonna fuck. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I mean, like, the Kickstarter didn't quite go to the levels they wanted it to. They had to Kickstarter anyway, so they already knew they were in trouble. Then the Kickstarter didn't get to 10 million or whatever was needed.
It did. It did massive.
Yeah, it was.
But they still said it was like nowhere near what they needed to be.
Yeah, I think they thought they were going to get massive funding off the back of that, and I don't think it ever came. But
they ignored all the signs and they still said no. This isn't going to end it.
The thing
I really hope that he just puts up a tweet with a drawing that says Ryu killed Landy at the end. Do you know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah.
But it is amazing that he didn't realise probably that this was his only chance actually to finish it. It's like, you've got one shot at this, and it's like, nah.
Fucking terrible as well. I didn't make it out of that first village. The hide and seek and the fucking the way that you had to build up your character to beat those bullies by the gate.
That was really annoying, wasn't it? Especially because you beat them up, and it's like, well, I can easily beat them, and then it's like, no, you can't. You got to do more training, and it's like, but I've just beaten them up.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's a terrible game.
Lots of stuff like that. It's not so great. But yeah.
Okay.
So yes, that's been cancelled. So that's not going to happen. But they've also cancelled Blade Runner Black Lotus as well, which is a shame.
Oh really?
I heard that was supposed to be good, but never mind.
All right.
So anyway, I mean, the main news, obviously, that I wanted to talk about. I mean, hang on, let's see what that work. No, it doesn't work. Never mind. See, I was going to change the thing, and now I can't, and it's not. There we go. Done it. Right, there we go.
Okay. Nice. Great for the podcast. I mean, we haven't had enough.
I know.
About how we're
wanted to
annoy negative feedback, shall we?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Stadia. It's shutting down.
No.
As I think a lot of people thought it was going to, but it has happened. So Stadians will have access to their libraries until the 18th of January 2023. Yeah.
This is the wildest thing about it, the refund stuff, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, do you want to hear what Phil Harrison's got to say about it?
Go on.
Oh God, please.
Okay. While Stadia's approach to streaming games for consumers was built on a strong technology foundation, it hasn't gained the traction with users that we were expected. So we've made the difficult decision to begin winding down our Stadia streaming service.
If only they had listened to the fucking market when they announced this stuff. Do you remember when they announced it and everyone was like, this isn't going to work, this is ridiculous, think of a different business model, and they went, nope. Oh, it hasn't worked. We didn't envisage being here. How? Everyone told you this wasn't going to work. Are you mad?
Mm-hmm.
The underlying technology platform that powers Stadia has been proven at scale and transcends gaming. Yeah. We see clear opportunities to apply this technology across other parts of Google, like YouTube, Google Play, and our augmented reality efforts.
As well as YouTube. What do they mean?
I don't know.
They already stream YouTube.
Data centers and now YouTube will run.
All right.
Okay.
Google Docs, Google Drive.
Just say Google things.
As well as make it available to our industry partners, which aligns with where we see the future of gaming headed. We remain deeply committed to gaming, and we will continue to invest in new tools, technologies, and platforms that power the success of developers, industry partners, cloud customers, and creators. And so that's the statement. But I mean, they are refunding all Stadia hardware purchases to Stadians, as well as game and add-on content that was sold via the store.
Is anyone, the four of us, if I was to predict that one of us has spent money on that system, my prediction would go on Sean Bell.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, I got, what did I get? I think they gave me like a 10 quid voucher, and then I bought... What did I get? It was like Rage 2 or something, because it basically worked out that I'd only pay about 2 quid for it.
Right, okay. So you're getting a £2 refund,
I assume so.
Nice. Matt, did you spend any money on it?
No, I didn't. I didn't buy it.
It's only Sean that spent money on Stadia.
Quids
I mean,
in.
I like everyone else got those £10 vouchers, and I was like, "Oh, do I?" And then no.
I mean, like the fact that I got Rage 2, like a game that was literally just like, I'm pretty sure I already had it on Epic or whatever for free.
Definitely.
And I was just like, well, £2 just to see what it's like, right?
It's not very good.
And yeah, it doesn't really work. It does work. It was just like trying to play it on a phone. You're playing obviously a game that is built for PC and consoles. Like the interface is just too small, and just it wasn't a good experience. But
I mean, Sean, that's the one thing you can never say. You can never say it didn't work because that's what gets people really upset.
They get very upset
because people always immediately say, "But it worked. It worked."
And
yes,
right,
it
and this is it.
That wasn't the problem.
It's easy to make fun, but it wasn't the problem. But to be fair, when this was first announced, that was part of the skepticism, right? Was that we were all like, "Hang on, is this even going to be playable? Like, is this going to be?" And it was. It totally was.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you say, it's everything else that they got wrong. The fact that it's not Google's fault that everyone sort of assumed it would be like a Netflix subscription, but again, like Dave was saying, they should have perhaps taken that on board and maybe thought, oh, maybe we shouldn't be charging full fucking price for games that you don't really own.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. I mean, obviously, it's good that they're refunding everybody everything. That's great. But then developers apparently have been hit by this in a not great way.
Because none of them were told,
this
were they?
is the biggest problem of all of this, because if they're saying, I mean, you will go on to what they've actually done, but if they're saying that and I think this is all bullshit, but if they are saying they still want one foot in gaming and they're still going to approach it, they are going to be hard pressed to find people within the industry that will trust them now after what they've done to the people that...
Well,
100%.
Surely all they're going to do is they're just going to sell the technology to be used by other companies, isn't it? They're not going to do anything that's going to actually in gaming anymore.
No, but I'm talking like 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
If they wanted to do something with gaming, how the fuck do you turn around to a community or an industry that you've essentially sold down the river? Tell them what they did. Tell them what they did.
Oh, I think people have short memories. In 10 years' time, and we're back on the.
I don't know, man. This is fucking rough.
It's rough, but people have short memories, and okay, now it's
I don't know, man.
5G, blah blah blah.
I mean, those Atari consoles have done really well. When they've tried to bring those back again. After that, it's like,
tell them
It's a
what
little bit
happened.
different though, comparing Atari to Google.
Yes. So.
No, it's not.
That was the joke. So developers have obviously not been very happy about this, with Stadia, because a lot of people, they said that it was the first thing they heard about this was from the public announcement, that the service was ending. And also Google staff were apparently only told about this like 3 hours before it even happened. So, I mean, there's SFB Games and Mayor developer Simon Roth had said that articles online were, the first they'd heard of it. And yeah, there's other people who have got games that are imminently coming out, like stuff that's coming out in November and stuff, and now they've got no idea what to do. Like, how do you proceed with that if you put all of your work into that and now it's not happening? But then the other problem you've got is you've got people who they've got like Stadia exclusive games, of which there are some. And it's like, what happens to them? Like, can they port them over?
The contract just goes away, doesn't it? And they get
but it's like, it's like, what do you do with those games? Because they've been designed, for Stadia and that, and it's like, okay, do we put resources into like?
Have they though? Because the actual sort of interesting Stadia stuff never really happened, did it? Like the stake sharing and all that stuff. I'm not saying it. Obviously, it's a pain in the arse. I'm not saying like, oh, just fucking copy and paste it onto an Xbox and you'll be fine. Like, obviously, it's way harder than that. I mean, because that's the other problem, isn't it? Is because because everything on Stadia runs on Linux. It's not just a case like, as you say, it's either you've put effort into porting it to Linux, or if you've been making it for Linux, you've then got the sake of porting it to anything else you want to put it on. And like, okay, if you've been making a Stadia exclusive and Google were paying you to do that, presumably they're only covering like, the costs incurred up to that point. Whereas I'm guessing as a developer, you were probably hoping you're going to sell some games at the end of it as well and make a bit more cash out of it, and that's now not going to happen. So it's just, it's absolutely atrocious position.
I felt that. I mean, the devs behind the Hot Wheels Unleashed was the one, wasn't it?
Oh god, yeah.
it was literally about an hour or two before.
It's terrible, isn't it? They
announced that were
tweeted
closing.
like it's like it's coming, and then it's like like we've got this game coming out like now, and then it's like you shut down. It's just
it was that is bad because you wonder how much. Well, I mean, how much out of their own pocket they paid to convert? It can't have been out of their own pocket, right? Who in their right mind would invest?
Well, this is the other
in
thing that
audiences?
I remember reading, like Steve Totillo, like saying, like from Kotaku, that it was like Google have spent a lot of money, like on other, getting other companies to port stuff as well to Stadia, like loads and loads of money, and but obviously it hasn't come off, and it's just strange that I still think it's a bit strange, honestly. They've kicked this in at this point.
No, you don't. What are you talking
Well,
about?
James, you said it'd be dead within 6 months.
Yeah, I thought it would be because it's Google, but I still, because they kill stuff all the time, like they always do this.
Well, there you go then. So don't act like you find it strange. No,
what I
have
mean
been saying straight away, this ain't gonna last long. All right.
Well, yes, that's true.
But, and a little bit of pushback from Matt.
Well, no, because I think you said it'll be dead within a year, and it's lasted way longer than a year.
Well, as
3 years, wasn't it? 2 or 3 years.
3
As
times.
it, though. I think those 2 years it wasn't really active, was it?
Yeah, but it wasn't
Well,
killed
this
like
is-
James said. It'd be dead.
There are
It's
lots
true,
of Stadians on Reddit, seriously, that are upset about this. There's loads of them.
Also, I
Okay.
think about the other devs. Like, Google bought the Journey to Savage Planet devs, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, what do they do now? And like, Journey to Savage Planet was a fantastic game. Dave, you and I really enjoyed it.
It's good.
We're working on other titles. Hopefully, they can release on other platforms now. Maybe they're always going to. I don't know. But it's like Jesus. Like they obviously
Do you reckon?
yeah.
I reckon Phil's going through their bins at Google at the moment. What's in here? What's in here? Journey to Savage Planet. Oh, we'll have them. Put them in his pocket.
I mean, it would be a good move for them to say, anyone is drastically affected. What can we make it on Xbox Cloud Gaming? It would be a good move and good for the developers if someone were to go in and try and help them teams. But it's it's a lot of work. But I can't remember what I was going to say then. But yeah, it's sad. The whole thing's rubbish.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing that's happened is that there's so Ubisoft, Bungie, and IO have also been talking about how to move content across as well, because people have put time into this. Like they put time into these games and played stuff. So Ubisoft have said that games on Stadia can be transferred to PC. But then I've also read that some people aren't happy about this because some people are like, well, I'd rather have the refund, please, because the reason I'm using Stadia is because I don't have a PC, to do that. So,
That's
the thing,
the whole
like,
selling point.
Yeah,
exactly.
we should point out, because there'll be people listening to this and be like, well, actually, because we've heard from them before, like people have said, I use Stadia because here is my use case, and here's why I think it's really useful, and to me, it's really useful. It's like, yes, okay, so if you're in that circumstance, this getting shut down is bad. However, have you heard of Geforce Now? Because it does the same thing and hooks into your Steam library and all the rest of it.
Yeah, Geforce Now is really good. Although, didn't they have Geforce Now had a problem with people signing up to it, right? Do you remember that?
Well, they had, so they were letting you play anything in your Steam library, and they hadn't actually checked with devs and publishers if that was all right. So I believe now it's only things that have been greenlit for
it's based on Minesweeper and
chess,
Spider Solitaire.
Well, even I mean, how available is cloud gaming now for Xbox? Can you get that app on most things now?
Yeah, it's just web-based, isn't it?
It's just browser now, isn't it?
Yeah. Just a browser
app.
So.
I mean, that is worth looking at, especially with the Game Pass thing, which is what we said. Fucking Stadia
exactly.
Should have been
It's what Stadia should have been, but it wasn't.
Well, this is it. And Google have got a wallet big enough to do that. Surely.
They really have, yeah.
But then it was Google that shut down the developers that they were going to. The whole plan, even though it's totally backwards, that they were going to. They announced this product, released it, and then said, okay, now we're going to start these in-house development teams. Jade Raymond was heading something up, I believe, at one point.
Yeah.
You're already fighting.
They should have done that 5 years previous. Then announced this time. Then announced the thing, said, here
exactly,
we go. These games, these developers, but they did it backwards. Then they shut them studios down, and so now we're here. It's it's no surprise whatsoever.
But they did it in a typically Google way, in the sense of you release something as a beta, and then you just keep iterating on it until it either becomes something or it doesn't become something. And in this case, it hasn't. But
this is what's so funny, isn't it? It's on the one hand, this is this huge seismic announcement, and yet also it's exactly what loads of us thought would happen because they've done it before with loads of other services, Google Wave, Google Plus. Like, this is just how they fucking operate. Like,
I know, but for me, it was, we're all we're all gamers, and
with a capital G, mate.
We looked,
That's
we
right.
were absolutely blown away by what their business model was when they first announced it. Everyone went, well, how much is it a month then? Because I'll see what it's like and see what games are on it, and if it's running at 4K, then fucking great, yeah. Let's see what that's like. It's not a monthly thing, okay. Well, Cyberpunk, that's a big game coming out. Everything, it'll be good on Stadia. How much? The same price as it is on consoles. Why? You don't have it though. And
there was
not only that, you could buy it at full whack, and if you didn't pay your monthly charge that Google Stadia were asking for, you could only see it in 1080p. Like, that's mad, and we knew it was mad from day one when they announced this stuff. We looked at that and we said, no. You're starting something completely new here, right? It's completely alien to... All right, we had on live, but that wasn't, like, massive. But you're trying to sell us a new way of playing video games, right? You need to make it interesting for us from a business perspective. You need to make it cheap for us, and you need to make it entice us to move away from the traditional way we play games and onto your service. And you absolutely did nothing to convince us to move over unless we didn't have, one of the major consoles or whatever. You did nothing there to suggest, hey, this is a good alternative and here are the advantages. The advantages were you don't need a console, but at the end of the day, most of the people that are that into gaming that are willing to pay a monthly charge have probably got a console.
Yeah, like the early adopters are the ones that already have
PC.
consoles.
See, the best thing they could have done right at the start would have been to buy some publishers, like as Microsoft have.
Yep.
So then they'd have had guaranteed content starting to come
But
out.
even then, I think you're fighting an uphill battle. If your initial
definitely.
business model is not good enough, you could release a 10 out of 10, must-play game on that service. It's still not going to convince a load of people to sign up for a monthly charge so they can watch it in 4K and then buy a game on top of that, which sounds crazy, right? I know, because people are currently paying £450 for a console and then paying for games on top of that, right? So I get it. But the difference is you're getting the console and you're not relying on an internet-based streaming service. Now, you can say it's just as good all you want, right? And we've had loads of messages saying it's just as good, there's not a problem with it, no lag. That's fine, but sell us that dream in a better way than, it'll be about the same. It'll be about the same. So, except for there's a monthly charge to make it look good.
For me, it just,
Sorry,
Sean.
Oh, no,
my thing is basically, cloud gaming works. This has proven it works, but not on its own. I think, to supplement playing on PlayStation, but you're on the move, you play on your phone, or playing Xbox cloud gaming, or remote play, whatever. Like, that stuff is a great addition, but not the sole reason why someone would use a service like this. I don't think. Like,
total replacement,
absolutely. It's like, and I've used it way more than I thought I ever would on Xbox, just downstairs. But on its own, no way. It's a great something to supplement an existing ecosystem. This didn't have the ecosystem, sure, and they didn't even feel like they really invested in building one. As James said, didn't buy publishers, and even the developers they started, they kind of quickly stopped. So yeah, they didn't have like the content to back it up, and this on its own was never going to go anywhere.
See, also, there was a report from 9to5 Google who said that they were offered like a sequel to Death Stranding. And that apparently this was in the early stages of the development, but then Phil Harrison cancelled it because they said that they weren't interested in single player games like on the service, which is just mad. Like, why would you do that? If it's
I don't know.
Yeah,
ridiculous. This is definitely. I've said this before. It's not nice to like personally attack people, but I think I do fucking despise Phil Harrison. Like, what do we want him to do next? Given that everything he touches, he fucks up. Like, what's
take control of Crystal Palace Football Club?
Oh, I was going to say Ubisoft, but
it's fucking unbelievable. Like how
It will
he keeps going from job to job, and everything just turns to shit around him, and he goes, "Oh, okay," and then walks off, and then walks into.
Someone gives him a job.
It honestly infuriates me. It's
He'll
unbelievable.
probably end up at Nintendo next, won't he?
Oh, well, that'll be it. That'll finish him off.
Why did they never replace Reggie?
They
at
did.
Nintendo?
They
They
did
did
with Doug
Bowser.
Bowser.
Bowser,
No,
yeah.
I mean, why did they never actually replace him though? When was the last time you heard from Bowser?
Yeah, he's not a very fond of
dear.
sector spokesperson.
Absolute-
I'll tell you one thing.
Nobody.
I think they should just now turn it on so everyone can play Stadia Pro. But instead, they've said you had to be a Pro subscriber up to the date the announcement was made.
That's right, yeah.
Wouldn't it be not that this is really gonna change anything, but why not just say, okay, it's totally unlocked. You can download games. We'll pay the developers.
Whoa. So shut the. Matt, this is exactly what I
I
said
know.
I
about
know
the
where this is
3D,
going.
3DS
Yeah,
thing.
I know.
And you dug me out about that. That wound me up so
There's a
much.
comparison.
That's what they should have done with the 3DS thing. All devs say, have our games for free. Boom. Lovely. Why is that not happened? Are we still in that period now where it's not shut down?
What?
I wouldn't know.
3DS.
Yeah, the 3DS, he's still on the 3DS.
I'm pretty sure it's gone now, isn't it? You certainly
Long
can't
time.
buy stuff
I think
anymore.
it's next year.
I think you just can't buy anything now, right?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So give
Yeah.
it away for free. There's literally no reason to
Yeah.
just give it away for free. I'll go and get a 3DS tomorrow and just download everything on it. Brilliant.
I mean,
Brilliant.
you
Nintendo are
just
never
hack it,
going to do
that
something.
anyway.
Let's not get into this again.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But I think they should just say, really showcase what it was doing, and again, it's not going to change anything, but
It's a
that'd be good.
stupid idea, Matt.
what's the point?
Because
That's
all
the
it's showcasing is look what you could have won.
Yeah,
gamers.
this is what you could have had.
It could have
It's a
been
worse
beautiful.
idea than my one, actually. I think everyone agrees, don't they?
No, I think it's a
I think
great
that's a worse
idea.
idea than the 3DS one that I come
Yeah.
out with, isn't it, guys? Eh?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, but
I mean,
Nintendo's like a multi-billion-dollar. And this is like, I guess it's Google.
this is just a little pet project. I mean, what is really frustrating is that there are Stadia exclusive games that all right, okay, I've had 2 years to try them. There's a Pixel Junk one, right?
There's Pixel Junk Raiders.
Yeah.
There's Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle.
Yeah.
There's Hello Engineer,
That sounds right.
Outcasters, and Guilt.
Yep.
The only guilt you'll have is fucking using the service, aren't they? Alright.
Point is, I would happily try some of those now that I know they are going to fucking go away forever. And there's literally no window to do that. I understand, obviously, it would be yucky to charge money for stuff that definitely has a finite lifespan, but considering those
You're
things
going to
are
have
going
a
to be
finite
lost.
lifespan if you use the word yucky again. I'll tell you something. Hi, guys.
I mean,
Ah,
the only other thing from this as well is what's going to happen to the controllers.
Well,
Because,
They
because
still work. They just work like normal.
No,
well,
they don't.
PC
apparently
controllers,
the whole thing.
Bluetooth doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
No, this is the
Google.
whole thing. So what it is if you plug it in with a USB cable, fine, it'll work.
Yeah.
It'll work absolutely
Okay.
fine. But you can't connect it over Bluetooth because they're designed to connect to Google data centers.
Yeah.
But they do have classic Bluetooth in them as well, and everyone's hoping that they'll just push a firmware
Well, you're
update.
getting
Yeah,
the money
because
back
that was-
for it anyway. Stop bloody moaning.
Because when
Well,
it
no,
first
it's a
came
waste
out,
of plastic, isn't it, and all that. If people can reuse them, that's great.
Yeah, it's gonna end up in fucking
giving a shit
landfill
about the
otherwise.
environment. Going
'cause-
around
yeah, 'cause-
dashing out fucking switches to everyone. Go on.
Everyone has
remember-
benefited from that, Dave. You prick.
when it first came out, yeah, because it was like, oh yeah, so at the moment you have to connect the controller to your phone with a cable, but they're going to enable Bluetooth. And then 2-3 years down the line, they just never did, and now seemingly
that's-
aren't saying they're going to.
But
Bizarre.
there was one. Okay, so there's one Stadian who has figured this out, and he created he did a Python hack to create Stadia Wireless. So what you could do is you could connect the phone wirelessly, your controller wirelessly to your phone, which would then connect to your PC, and you could use it like that way. It's like
That's the
basically
most Nintendo thing I've ever heard. Isn't it? Would they nick that idea from Nintendo, did they?
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, as I said, this is not obviously this isn't a surprise. This has happened, but I don't know. I still feel a bit surprised that it has happened this early. But then also, obviously, nothing. It's been so dead for the last 6 months or so that maybe we shouldn't be really. There's just been no buzz, nothing at all. Every month I used to get those newsletters around that were like, "Here's your monthly Stadia games," and it's like
Yeah.
some game that came out in 2012 or something like that, and it's just like, okay, fine.
The like Dave mentioned Cyberpunk. Like, to be fair, like when Cyberpunk came out, Stadia was probably the best place to play
people were saying that.
Yeah, like unless you had like a $2,000 PC. But again, why did they not capitalize on that? I know like they did some funny tweets and stuff. But again, why was the game full price? Why didn't they just be like, fuck it, let's like sell it? Like, Google take the hit. Let's
that
fucking
game was
sell
only
it
full price for like a week though, Sean.
True.
Do you know what I mean? They didn't
you know what I mean?
have
They should have just gone, oh, by the way, it's cheap as fuck on Stadia and it's the best version going. And they just, I don't know, they just didn't grasp any of the opportunities.
Yeah, I wonder if there was a spike. 'Cause at one point, one Christmas, I think it was, when it felt like loads of people on Twitter, like, I got a game in it or something, because it was like there's a £20 voucher going around, or I was like, oh yeah, I gave it a go. I mean, maybe last time you gave it a go, Sean, but
Maybe.
I don't think you're alone.
Yeah.
God knows how many people had actually had like using the service. Yeah. I mean, I wonder where this puts things, not they're directly related, but things like Amazon Luna. Anyone heard anything about that?
Well, yeah,
That
because
went
that's
quiet, didn't it?
quiet, isn't it?
Because that's like officially launched in the UK as well, I think. But then
Oh, was it?
nobody's aware that it has. Which is...
All I'll say is that the only one that I've used of any of these, I've used PlayStation Now a little bit, but I'm mainly use the Xbox one because it feels like it's part of Game Pass. So it's like you own it anyway. So and a few times where I have been away, I've just packed my Xbox controller with me, connected it to my phone, and played a few games on that.
Yeah, something to supplement your existing library. Then yeah, absolutely. What a great addition.
Which is what GeForce Now should really be pushing for, right? But that's not got a name for itself yet, not like properly.
No, but obviously they got loads of licensing issues. That's why that can't do the thing it did on day one. Everyone was like, "Wow, this is incredible! What a service!" Oh no, wait, you haven't actually checked the small print there.
It feels like we're sorry, Sean.
What for?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something. It feels like we're kind of going around in circles now. We've sort of talked this one to death.
Kicking the shit out of what's left of Stadia.
Yeah.
I mean, not only is it the end of Stadia, it's the end of Stadia update.
Yeah, it
I
is.
do feel a bit
do you
sad
know what
about
kills
that.
me is that Matt nearly got that Stadia tattoo at that EGX, and imagine if he did.
I mean, that would only
So
be
close.
funnier now.
So
one of my
close.
biggest regrets is we didn't get those T-shirts that was like, ask me about Stadia.
Yeah. Do you know? We nearly just before Stadia come out, we were at an EGX and we nearly bought Matt and asked me about Stadia T-shirt. Right. Also, when I say Matt nearly got a tattoo, we walked past a tattoo place in the EGX and I went, "Get a Stadia one," and Matt said no. That's how close.
Nearly though, nearly.
Yeah,
Nearly.
nearly
Yeah,
got him.
if I'd had that idea sooner, I would have absolutely worn it as a T-shirt. But shame.
Shame.
Okay, next story is also potentially a sad one, which is that this is key Disco Elysium devs have reportedly involuntarily exited the sequel. And this all comes from a post to Medium that was titled "The Dissolution of the." Now, Sean, how do I pronounce this?
It's just Zoom.
Zoom. Okay, so it's the Zoom Cultural Association. So Martin, is it Luiga? Is that right?
I guess so.
Yeah, he served as an editor on Disco Elysium, and he claims that the writer and designer Robert Kurvitz and also Helen Hiddenpeer and the lead art editor.
It's misspelled on the article.
Okay, so it's Hindpeer. It's difficult. And leader and design developer Alexander Rostov have all left the company. They've all gone, basically.
Well, they all left last year, didn't they? That's the shocking part. Late last year, apparently they were, and it was against their will.
But in what way? Because there's not any further details, though, is there, about that? I mean, I assume that just means they were fired or whatever. But
they've been ousted. Yeah, because didn't they? I believe Martin gave like some extra context like on Twitter, but like that's all we've got to go off.
Basically, because someone said they're worried about what their class is the money men making the decisions.
Yeah.
Well,
and he said, "Well,
this is it, right? Because I don't
go on."
Judge anyone or anything, but by the very nature of the type, the tone and style and the things that game had to say, you can't imagine that a working relationship is gonna, even between friends within the team, I bet there were some fucking political arguments within that development process. So
like it casts a new light on the fact that like last year, obviously when the I forgot what they called it, the console edition with the voice acting and everything, which is really good.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and yeah, to be clear,
Final Cut.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, let's say yes. And this isn't me being like, actually, Disco Elysium was shit. But remember when that new merch came out? There was this fucking wave of new merch. There was the 350 quid jackets. There was the vinyl soundtrack was like 70 quid or something. And there was that old big special edition which had a still fucking statue in it. And I hate that stuff at the best of times. But it was just like, this all feels a bit gross, like Dave says, given the themes of the game. Like, I was tweeting, I said, the fact that, like, this is a game where, like, it makes a point of going, oh, you found some trousers that don't have cum stains in them, nice one, right? That's the sort of game this is. So to then be like, oh, yeah, do you want a designer jacket? And do you want all this physical tat? I don't know, it didn't feel right.
It didn't match what the game was saying, did it?
Yeah, and now in hindsight, it's like, right, are these... I mean, and this is pure speculation. It could be this was all Robert Kurtwitz's idea and he fucking loved it. I don't know. The Amazon TV show as well that they're supposedly making, that also was announced.
Yeah,
and it's like, were these all decisions being made by people? Like, are these decisions being made by the people that were clashing with? Clashing with the creators? Maybe, I don't know, but it does sort of fit together, right?
It does, yeah. It would be interesting to see if anything comes out of this from the people involved. But it's
and to be clear, this is because it's very easy to be like, oh well, fucking Disco Elysium 2 is going to be shit. Then it's like, well, hang on a minute. Like, obviously, like, it's very shit that, like, Robert Kurtwitz in particular, like, this is a world he created, like, and he's been doing stuff in since he was a teenager. He made like a pen and paper role-playing game out of it. He wrote a book about it before, Disco Elysium became a thing. So for him to no longer have any creative say in that world and to no longer own that is really shit. However, these three people didn't make the game themselves. They haven't got a monopoly on, creativity. There'll still be loads of people still at, Zaum who really want to make a really good sequel to Disco Elysium.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, like, what people on the internet are like. There's a lot of people just being like, oh, well, fuck that, fuck them, fuck that, fuck the next game, etc. It's like, well, hang on. Like, okay, that it's incredibly likely that something might be missing, or it might feel like something's missing, but you don't need to shit on the people who are still there and still want to make a really good sequel.
Whatever. What fucking hell? Do I play this again? I need a bit of time, don't I? I need to play again. Talking about it, I'm kind of like, I need to do this again, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
I really want to see what the voice acting.
The voice acting is so good, man.
What was the Switch version like? Did it ended up? Was it awful? Like,
I don't know. I can't remember. I mean, because even I remember the PS4/5 version had issues when it came out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Do we do a series where we play it all together? We do a run all together.
Oh, that'd be so good.
After if we do that after Christmas.
Oh god, yeah.
Because there's too much stuff to play at the moment.
100%.
No, I'm talking about as a replacement to our streams, James.
Oh, okay.
Do we do a run of it where we all sit and argue about each decision together?
We could do that. That'd be quite cool.
That'd be really good. I'd really like that. Yeah. That's an
The
idea.
problem is that's a long old stream series, isn't it? And there's going to be some people that aren't into it. So is this an addition?
God, can you imagine the arguments that have come out of that as well, though?
Could you imagine?
All I'm going to say is, Disco Elysium.
Alright, okay.
Okay, next story is there's been an update on E3 2023 and what's going to happen with it. So the physical event is going to take place on June 13th and to June 16th at the Los Angeles Convention Center. That doesn't matter to us, but that's what's happening. It's going to be a business and a consumer show this time, and the first 2 days are just for business, and then the third day is going to be like a business/consumer day, and the fourth day is just for consumers. And then what they're going to do is they're going to dedicate half of the convention center to business, and then the other half will be for like the spectacular stuff, for like the booths and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's kind of the idea. And then there's also going to be like a dedicated meeting space for people where you can like set meetings on the app and stuff. But then the thing which I think is really interesting about this is that they're talking about partnering as well with other things that are going on around E3 as well that are not even like officially part of it or whatever, to try and create this kind of like E3 week. It's like we're all sort of associated with each other. Okay, you're not officially part of E3, but you're part of the whole buzz of it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like you're not part of the ESA's arrangement of E3, but you're still clearly in E3 week.
Yeah, and so then that's what the whole point of it will be, and also there'll be like press briefings and all sorts of stuff, and that seems to be where they're going with this.
A lot of people seem very positive about this.
Yeah. Because like I was saying, when it was first announced that Repop were going to be doing it, it was like, well, does that mean this is just going to become PAX LA? Whereas it now sounds like they've got an idea of how to run it differently, and this sounds
let's get E3 back, baby. Baby, $100 million, baby. Let's get E3 back. We should get E3 back. What about that?
Be nice, wouldn't it?
It would be nice. Get the bloody stage out. Wheel
it out, dust it off.
Wheel them out. Say, no, Nintendo, you can't do one of your directs.
Nothing, no pre-records. We're not allowing pre-records at this thing.
No pre-records. Everything's got to be live. You get one rehearsal. And each of you have to use Jesse Wellens, the YouTube content creator. He's got to be on every single one of these.
With music by Ravi Drums.
Yeah,
like the people I follow that are properly in the industry, they've all seemed really positive about this. The fact there's specific kind of areas for just the kind of the press and reporters.
Well, we don't want to mix with the unwashed. Shut up! You're in E3. Just go and have a good time. Fucking man. Oh, but we're with the press. No one reads your stuff anymore, mate. We're all on Twitch now. Thank you very much.
I suppose the other question is, like, does this upstage? Because obviously, Keighley's summer business. What's he called?
I hope it does. I hope this kills Summer Games Fest.
This is it, because obviously last year.
I hope he renames it to Geoff Keighley's summer business.
Is that the episode? That might be the episode title, might it? It was arrogant of me to say that, but there it is.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is.
So last year, obviously, there was a physical element to that, and that was supposed to be for press to turn up and have access to developers and stuff, which had a mixed response. Some people seemed to love it. Others were furious at either not being able to get in, or they could get in and then they couldn't actually speak to anyone, and there was, teething problems, I guess, first year of doing it. But yeah, like with this being back, with E3 being back and having dedicated industry days, it's everyone just going like, "Well, fuck off, Keighley. We're going to the main thing."
I'd be happy with that.
All right.
Okay. Next story is that Saudi Arabia has set aside $13 billion to acquire a major publisher, and this is all going to be done through the Savvy Games Group, which is 100% owned by the Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, which is run by the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who's the chairman. And and so do you want the quote? The quote is that
Bill's not going to get much, is it?
It says Savvy Game. Well, it could buy EA, I think, for that. Can
Really?
Or is it Ubisoft? No, you could buy Ubisoft for that easily. I mean, you could buy several Ubisofts for that.
I could buy Ubisoft, mate.
But anyway, Savvy Games Group is one.
You couldn't, Sean. Why are you trying to act the big man on the podcast? Why are you trying to act the big man?
Just
Sean?
thought it sounded funny. Sometimes,
yeah, but you can't.
I know it doesn't happen often, Dave. But sometimes I try and do jokes. Right? I don't know.
Oh, that was a joke, was it? You weren't. Now you're backtracking, not trying to be the big man.
I've just bought a Steam Deck, so I'm out of the market, mate.
I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. You've embarrassed yourself there, quite frankly.
Sure, if you can, then I want you to put an official kind of contract in. Try and buy this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right,
really back this joke up.
I'll have a go. I'll let you know.
Prove it.
Yeah, we won't be laughing, Sean. Talk to your lawyer tonight.
I haven't got one. How long does it take to get a lawyer?
At what stage in your life do you have a lawyer? Like, when does that become a thing?
When you're about
in
to
trouble
die?
with the law?
I think when you're writing your will.
No, it's like I hear normal people go, "I'll have to talk to my lawyer about that." What?
Normal people say that?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if they do.
Right, well, actually, they're not.
Are you watching Alan McBeal?
Right? Dave's like, "Oh, I support Millwall," but actually, all his mates are like,
my lawyer.
Yeah,
just because I showed you up. Go on. James.
I don't want to read the quote because it's rubbish. But
You asked if we
basically,
wanted to hear it.
I know. Well, I've decided I'm not going to do it.
I'd love to hear the quote, James.
No. So what's happened here? They're also going to continue making minority investments as well, and they've already done that in Embracer Group and Nintendo and Capcom and all that kind of thing. But also they're going to put loads more money into esports, so that's great. But I mean, obviously, there's the concern with this because of Saudi Arabia's human rights record, and I mean, particularly
it's fucking gross.
Allegedly murdering journalists and stuff like that, and it's pretty terrible.
Yeah. Really horrible. I mean, not that I'm saying that all games money is currently clean until Saudi Arabia gets involved, but it's not
Also,
good.
the fact that any country trying to own a game studio sounds a bit weird to me,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yes.
I mean, I know it happens. Like, I'm not an idiot to think that that's not the case with certain places now. There's definitely some, but it is still a bit like, because I mean, China own game studios, right, James? Right?
Yes, well, Tencent,
Tencent
is and
there's a lot of problems with that.
Tencent are I would say a highly problematic company. but
So they've earmarked $30.3 billion. So who are they going to buy? Like, this is based on one partner. So
Well, I was going to say Ubisoft, but apparently Sean's buying them. So
they're already taken, mate. Sorry.
well, it can only be what?
I got dibs.
Yeah.
I got
It
dibs
can only
on
be
that.
Ubisoft, EA. I mean, they can't afford Play On, like Embracer Group or Play On, as I think they're called now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no! Sorry, I think it's Koch Media that got rebranded to Play On
because they got sick of people calling them Cock Media.
So maybe they buy Play On.
Fair
I
enough.
don't think they can afford Embracer Group.
I don't know.
Obviously not Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo.
Yeah.
maybe EA. I don't know.
Do you know they can't afford the computer game show?
Yeah.
No.
Well, they fucking
Great,
could
brother.
actually, because there's another
Unless they've
lie.
got
They
two.
absolutely could. If they come up to us and say we want to buy the computer game show for 13 billion, all my morals go out the window, mate. Give me that money. I want to retire.
Yeah.
Or at least pay the energy bills, eh?
Yeah, I would say no.
Would we have to still host the show, or could they just take the name?
Just take the name, innit?
Who would
Take the
host
name.
it instead?
I mean, we could start another podcast with a better name.
What would
Exactly.
happen if they just they fired like two of us? Look, it's not going to happen. Let's forget it. Let's move on.
It's like when
This does sound like something you fantasized about, Dave.
Yeah.
Like-
Sending the show every day.
But no,
every
send the
day
show.
I think
Two
about
people
sending
get
the show.
fired, then the real show can begin.
Every day. Yeah, fine. If you want to buy me out, fire me and preferably James, because then we can go off and do our own thing.
It's like when Lonely Island went to SNL and they were like, right, we want Andy Samberg in front of the camera. The other two, you can write stuff.
Yeah.
You go and hide back
You can
there.
direct the SNL digital shorts.
Yeah.
Right then.
I mean, honestly, yeah. We're looking to sell at the moment. If anyone's interested, Channel 4, MTV, these are all companies that I reckon we should be attracting at the moment.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay, next story is that. Okay, so remember the GTA 6 leak? There's been a suspect has been arrested.
Yeah, we
for
spoke
this.
about last week.
We know. He didn't listen
He
to
didn't
last week's
listen to
episode. He didn't fucking listen to
Wait
it.
a minute. When did this? No, wait a minute. No, wait.
Oh,
Let's have a look at this, right?
No, we
because
don't
this
need to.
story.
we know.
Yeah, but this
we read the
story's
story
not.
last
This,
week.
I know you may have done, but there's more detail now than there was when you
but you
talked
just-
about it last week.
But you just presented last week's news as if it was the headline.
James. James, now's the time to be completely honest.
No, I'm 100% honest. I did listen to the show last week. 100%.
All of it.
Yes, I 100% listened to it. Honestly,
Name something I said, James.
I can't remember anything you said, man. I never can.
Not the time.
You're back on the attack now. Look at that. Switched.
God, look how happy he is with that. Go on, James.
So anyway, so a 17-year-old has pleaded not guilty to this. And according to Eurogamer, who were in conversation with Detective Inspector Michael O'Sullivan from the City of London Cybercrime Unit, he said the 17-year-old who appeared at Highbury Corner Youth Court on 24th of September has pleaded guilty to breaching his bail conditions and not guilty to computer misuse. The teenager has been revoked. Yeah. So I guess we'll find out what happens later.
Sorry,
much of an update, is
James's
it?
connection go fucked for everyone else then.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
Sorry,
James'
because it was
connection
perfect
went
because
fucked.
he just went and then he just came back with, and I guess we'll see what happens. Anyway, I think we got the gist right. What amuses me about this is, okay, so he's pleaded not guilty to doing the hack, but he's pleaded guilty to breaching bail conditions. So I'm pretty sure what's happened is they've gone straight back on a computer and gone, lol, I just got arrested, right? That's almost certainly what they've done. But yeah, I don't know. There's not much to go on still on this, is there?
No,
Really.
we have to
Not
just
after
wait to
last
see what
week's,
happens.
update.
Yeah,
Which James-
but, I mean, yeah, interesting that there's a not guilty plea though, because you know, as with all these things, there's always like deals to be done if you're willing to admit it. So it's be an interesting one over the next few years. I reckon this is going to run.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next story is, how do you fancy a remaster of Horizon Zero Dawn that came out in 2017?
This is
Fucking
ridiculous.
hell.
This is actually ridiculous.
This is
Look,
first one yet.
Sony do some really good stuff. This stuff is mad, right? You know, it's up there with the Nintendo stuff. But I'd say, is it as bad as Nintendo? Because
it's
It's 5 years old game. People
I
are
think
complaining.
I think it's worse than Nintendo.
Yeah, I think it is.
What, in what way?
Because it's putting resources into this when they, like, why not put it into new stuff or whatever? It just feels
Well, I'm
weird.
assuming
Like, and it's not
it's
like-
a lot cheaper to make.
Like, if the game looked like shit now, and they were like, oh yeah, we're going to make it look loads better, like that, the original still looks great. Obviously, I'm sure the remaster will look better, but it's not like, it's not a game
the
crying
difference
out
is-
for a lick of paint, is it? It's
The difference is, well, I suppose, right, is it worse than Nintendo? Because Nintendo say, here's the new console, you can't play the old games, but we'll re-release them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas Sony, you can still play the
you
PS4
can play,
version
play the old one
on
if
the
you wanted to.
PS5.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
But you know this is coming out for 70 quid as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
definitely,
is
100%.
5 years old. People complained only in September about the fact they re-released The Last of Us, which was a 13-year-old game, or is a 13-year-old game. This is 5 years old.
I mean, I've
Well,
seen
and it's
there's
also
the obvious
important to
gag.
remember that this has not been announced yet, even though
No.
it was someone in the know said, no, this is true.
I've seen the obvious joke where people are like, "Oh, when's the Ghost of Tsushima one coming?" You know, is that the one that's next?
Well, because
I've also
this is not an original observation, but obviously everyone's been saying the real crime here is like, why are we still waiting for a fucking Bloodborne remaster, and yet
Well,
we're
it's
getting a
different
Horizon
studio
Zero
though,
Dawn one?
right?
Well, I don't know, but it's a Sony property. They could do it if they wanted.
I think we'll get a Dark Souls 1 proper remake. I know there's been that remaster. Like, I think we're going to get a proper. You know how Demon Souls was
Demon's got it,
completely
yeah.
it's going to. Dark Souls is next, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
before Bloodborne, but they'll get to Bloodborne. That'll get redone for sure.
yeah, I mean, it's like movies. Everything will get redone. I saw one person say Nintendo should remaster Breath of the Wild and release it in the same week. Just,
That's quite good.
again. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed my time with a little bit of this, and now I kind of stopped because I was like, I can't play this kind of games. I enjoyed the sequel more, but just like 5 years. Come on. Come on.
I mean, all this is going to have is they say there's going to be like they'll improve. Obviously, it'll look nicer. There'll be some like accessibility features and performance updates, that kind of stuff. But there's also claims that they're currently working on, like Guerrilla are working on like a Horizon multiplayer game for PS5 and PC as well. And I mean, VGC like speculate this is because this is part of Sony's bigger push for live service games, and that's Horizon's going to be one of those games. You know that that they're going to do that.
Can I be the dinosaurs?
Right, playing devil's advocate. If you've not played that first game, you get to play it and it looks a lot nicer. If you played that first game, you just don't buy the new one.
Yeah, but then like James is saying, it's the fact that resources are being put into this instead of just doing something new and cool.
But if you think remastering a game is the same resource as bringing out something new, I don't
obviously it's not. It's just that is still resource that could have gone into something else.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see how well this sold. Yeah.
I mean, this could just be keeping a lot of team members busy while they're in early pre-prod stage of another
That's true.
title. But they're
Yeah.
like, look, we've spent ages working on Forbidden West game, and actually, I forget the guy, the actor who was in The Wire and is the voice of the dude in Destiny.
Lance Reddick. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
He tweeted the other day saying basically doing some cool new stuff in the studio, #, Forbidden West, then deleted it. So people suggesting, oh, is there going to be a DLC for this, but whatever. They've obviously had a massive team working on that. This is a good way to keep people working, and they're like, yeah, you work on this, and while the other title or something else we're working on is in pre-prod. These are the reasons why these things often are work this way, just to keep people kind of busy. But yeah,
I'd
James,
love to know what the conversations are after a tweet like that. The fuck are you doing?
yeah,
Oh, I
bro,
just
the
got
NDA.
a tweet about it, but don't, like, we've not announced it. You fucking, you must know. You must know that we've not announced this project. So
Isn't
why
this?
Are you
I mean,
about it?
it's less defensible with someone like Lance Reddick, who's clearly been in games now for a while. But my understanding is that like other industries aren't anywhere near as precious about this stuff, and that's why some actors will just be like, "Oh yeah, I did this voice for this new fucking Metal Gear Solid game or whatever," and we all go fucking mental. Whereas in the film world, that's just like, okay, I don't know.
So James, this multiplayer, so that wouldn't be part of this. Would that be a separate standalone title?
Yeah, it seems to be a separate standalone. But the other thing that they talked about was the fact that there was going to be co-op as well for Forbidden West. That was something that was like something they were going to build into it, but then didn't. And the speculation with that is that may come to a third game. That'll be. I mean,
Right.
That would work. That could be quite good actually.
Yeah, I think that worked really well. Yeah.
Getting through that world in co-op would be pretty cool.
Okay.
So, Sean, would you play like basically a Monster Hunter, Forbidden West, or
well, no, because Monster Hunter
Door?
already exists. There's already co-op, so yeah, I'm all right, I think.
Okay.
Oh, Matt. Sorry, Matt. Yeah. I feel bad.
I'll play it with you, Matt, because it is fun.
Oh, there
I
you
wasn't
go.
suggesting I play it. I just wondered if it was interesting.
He doesn't want your pity, James. Fucking hell.
He changed his tune when he heard that it was only James that wanted to play with him.
Yeah, true.
Not true.
Okay, last story is that the PlayStation Stars thing that they were launching, that's happened in Japan now.
Right.
And so what happens? So so by buying stuff, playing games, and earning trophies and stuff, you can go from like level 1 to level 4, like on it. But then in Japan, they've discovered that once you get to the 4th level, once you've like unlocked this, you get this other perk, which is that if you contact PlayStation customer support, you get priority in the chat order. Like they bump you up so that you get answered more quickly.
That's weird.
I'm a level 4 person. Get me up with that customer support now.
Basically, yeah.
What
And
a shit perk.
yeah, and it's not clear if this is going to come to other territories as well, but it is weird. Like, I mean, it's just like if
That
you've got
is weird.
problems, you could go to the front of the queue, and it's just like,
Well, even worse, if you've got problems with your PS5, oh, sorry, you haven't got enough points for me to give a shit.
You're not going to honour the warranty.
Yeah.
You haven't signed up for your
buy
membership.
some more £70 games, please. Then we'll talk.
Yeah, that's it. Wow. Okay, Sony, you are weird at the moment. You're doing some wild stuff. Are we done?
Yeah, we're done. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there was the whole thing with the Halo engine change potentially, but that's that nothing's confirmed with that yet.
Oh, is it not confirmed?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, keep your nose on the news, James. Can that be his new catchphrase? Keep your nose on the news.
We'll do.
You have to do a little sniff after it.
Yeah.
Well, no, don't do that.
No, because
Should you do what you've been playing?
That's the
Go on.
next bit, isn't it?
Huge release for the podcast this week. I know that most of our listeners are going to be itching to hear us talk about this one at length. FIFA 23 came out. The football simulation. Don't yawn, Sean.
No, I was
We've
just
had-
going to say,
how
I
much
hope no one
Destiny have we
saw that.
fucking
No,
listened to?
that was just a natural. I've done a few. I'm just a bit tired. That was just an unfortunate coincidence. Go on.
Okay. FIFA 23.
I'm just going to be like staring at the
came
camera
out.
now, like.
Here's the thing about FIFA 23. We're going to talk about it briefly. Obviously, there's not much to say.
I don't know.
The Switch one is the same as the previous 5
They're
years or
still
whatever.
doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
they
the
do all the
Legacy
time.
Edition,
Fucking hell.
so just be aware of that. But also be aware of the fact that Matt and I are going to talk about this game now, having only played a very specific portion of this game.
mode.
I've played a little bit of seasons. I've played some co-op seasons. I haven't touched Ultimate Team because I never like that. And I've not touched the career mode, which a lot of people play. I mean, James, that's your main thing.
It is, yeah.
We're mainly going to be talking about pro clubs, and if you don't know about FIFA, pro clubs is where you control one character. You can play essentially, I think it's 10 aside. It might even be 11 actually. You can literally play a 22-man game of FIFA where you control one player, and that's what we play. And even that they fucked, like in such a way. Everything they fixed. Right, let's go through our faults straight away, Matt, because. Yeah. What was the first thing you noticed? Because I know what it is, and it's insane.
The first thing so you create a player, and then physically, how they look, as well as the attributes later. But how tall are they? What's their clothing look like? And what's their hair look like? And you can't make a bald person.
What?
You can't make a bald player.
What?
Can't make a bald player anymore.
Obviously, bald players have been in FIFA since FIFA 94. You'd be able to create a bald player in these kinds of modes for many.
There are bald players in the game.
Yes.
Because there are bald football
Also,
players.
lots of footballers famously bald.
Yes,
your pro club player cannot be bald anymore. In fact, actually, the majority of the hairstyles have just been flat out removed.
What? Why?
What? Hold on.
Well.
Wait,
why do you think,
James? Why do you think?
I have no idea.
They're not selling them, are they?
Who made this game?
Okay, not for next year, surely.
No. Have a think. You will go when you get it. You'll kick yourself. Why would they have removed a bunch of hairstyles from FIFA?
Why would they remove a bunch of stuff?
Well, yeah. The only thing I can think of is to sell it for next year.
No, to sell it back to you. This year.
There's microtransactions.
Oh my god!
Oh, there's a store. There is a store, right?
Oh, you're joking.
To be fair, that stuff, everything in the shop, you can buy with in-game currency that you earn, right?
Right.
Because initially I thought, oh my god, they're actually going to sell you this stuff.
So hang on. I've got to pay money to be bald.
No, James, because you still, even at this point, cannot buy bald.
You can't buy bald.
Are you kidding me?
For
purchase.
You just can't be bald in the game. Like, what the hell has happened there? You removed it. You can't even access it.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing with FIFA this year, and we're not going to go into the look. It plays football. I mean, it's still fucking a joke.
But yeah,
it's still a joke to play. No one wants to hear me talk about football at length. But if we just focus on the weird shit that they've done this year, the most insane thing is how they've gone. Right. Let's combine pro clubs and Volta. Now, for those of you that don't know what Volta is a street football game mode that they introduced probably about 4 years ago.
Yeah, like 5-a-side, indoor
horrible.
mini courts.
It's a horrible game mode where everything tries to be street and you're wearing baggy clothes and there's music blasting over the speakers while you're playing 5-a-side football. Everyone that's played it says it's rubbish, and I think they're trying to force people to play it. And I think this is, again, you got so they're looking to do microtransaction stuff. They're looking to do, there's a battle pass, right? At the moment there's not a premium battle pass, but there is a battle pass. The problem is you can't really do that for like a football player in itself because they're wearing the kit, right? So you can give them a silly hairstyle or a mask or like a hat. Yeah, but you're not going to have them walking around with a hat and like a chain and everything in pro clubs, right?
Or jeans.
So obviously you can do that in Volta. So they're trying to merge the two game modes, and you load up pro clubs now, and it's going, do you want to play Volta though? Just go and play Volta if you want. This is Volta.
Even on the menu.
This makes me much more apprehensive about what next year's going to bring as well.
Well, this is it. Well, we'll get to next year's in a bit, but
even on the menu, like it's not its own option. It's basically like it's Volta X Pro Clubs. So, like, we're having to share like a menu area, and then everything you do in like Pro Clubs is like, hey, you've earned something on the whatever they call in the battle pass in Volta. Go to Volta to get your bonus things, and then it's like tattoos you can put on your main character in Pro Clubs, but like
I bought a hairstyle in Volta and I can't wear it as a Pro Club player. Like it doesn't carry across. But here's the crazy thing, Sean, and you'll love this, right? So, in a way to convince Pro Club players to play Volta, you can get XP by playing Volta, and you can spend it on your player in Pro Clubs, right? So you get XP, and the XP carries across over to Pro Clubs. The thing is, if you were into Volta, all you're doing now is loading up a game of Volta, and the opposite person just quits the game. Because all they're doing is just launching and quitting, so they just get XP to use in their Pro Club thing. So even if you really love Volta, your game is being ruined by these. Instead of people flooding over to Volta, so there's more people playing it, people just quitting. You can't play a game now.
That's not true. On the weekend, I was like, I'm going to do some stuff where I just play Volta, it quits, I get XP, and that helps my Pro Clubs player. People are actually finishing games. I was like, well, this is not what I was
you were there. You were there when I was playing it the other day, and 5 games in a row, people just quit.
Yeah. Hang on, is there no penalty for quitting then?
No,
at all?
Not really.
Well, if there is a penalty, you don't see it. But regardless, you get XP for just taking part in a game.
Yeah, for quitting out. Yeah. And the other hilarious thing, right? So I decided I've always been made the character look like myself, right? The character in my Pro Clubs characters always tried to look like me. It's called Turners, all that sort of stuff. This year, I made the decision that I was going to create a character called Short Back and Buff, which is a guy that has hair around the sides and nothing on top. Because when he goes to the barber, he asks for a short back and a buff on top. And he was going to be tiny, and he's going to look old. I wanted him to look old because you never see that. So anyway, the Short Back and Buff haircut isn't available, but they did have one with a massive bald patch, right? So that was enough for me. So I chose the bald patch, and I chose a little moustache, right? And he's really tiny, and he looks really old, right? In Pro Clubs, looks fine. He just looks like a funny, like, old character, right?
Yeah, old-timey footballer.
In Volta, where they try and dress you in trendy street clothes, I'll be honest with you, Sean, he looks like a nonce. And there's no other way of describing my character. He looks like he's trying to hang out with kids. He's
like the Steve Buscemi meme, yeah?
Like a nonce, yeah. I mean, it's absolutely shocking. What I'm going to do now, and this is not for the benefit of the people at home, I apologise for it.
I would like to see this, yeah.
Here's a couple of GIFs of my character dressed in his street clothes, playing. There's him doing some kick-ups there, and I don't know if you can see it there, but
I was going to say, do you want
it's not, but yeah, if you could put it on screen, even better. But
that's incredible.
Do the keepy uppy one.
I'm just watching it. It's the moustache, you know.
It's nonsense, isn't it? What can you do about that? I mean, when you look at all these characters that look really cool and they're wearing all these like hoodies and look wicked, and then you see my character running around. Look, we've played 30 odd games of Pro Clubs, something like that, and we've won like 9 games. It's horrendous. The game is horrendous. I mean, I don't laugh as much playing any other game. Like when me and my mates get together, absolutely slaughtering each other. It's funny and I really enjoy it. But you forget how much hell that is. You know, I mention this every time I get the chance to, because I think it's the greatest thing anyone's ever said about a game ever. But when Chet Roivas from Chet and Johns described FIFA as a puzzle game for cunts, he's absolutely spot on, because you play that game and the thing is, right, what have they ruined this year? And what have they ruined, Matt?
I mean, lack of hairstyles.
Well, yes. No, I mean, in terms of the game itself, they just destroyed the through ball. You can't do a through ball anymore. So you go, oh, great, you can't do a through ball. and then all of a sudden you're seeing someone scoring the same goal, whipped crosses. And you go, okay, that's the answer this year. That's what
Hang
we're
on,
going
you can't. Through ball doesn't work. Well,
Through ball doesn't work. It does these
it's
little
so
piddly-
incredibly weak. You press it, you're like, what's the point of even pressing it?
Yeah, you might as well.
it's
just-
ridiculous. Though. That's one of my favourite moves.
Exactly, it just doesn't
That's
work.
when they did it, I think. Yeah.
It's James. I can't wait for you to play it because there's so much of this game where you're just like, I don't even get what they're trying to do here. Defending's way harder. I don't know. I look, it's going to be a long time before we get a big revolution in the football. It's like we were talking about. So this is the last FIFA, technically, right?
Mhm.
Next year's EA football game is going to be called EA Football Club. They've not gone and FIFA come out with the weirdest statement I've ever seen from a proper organisation where they said, well, we're going to bring out our own game out and it'll be the best football game because it's the FIFA game. So, and you're just going, I don't think you realise quite how hard it is to make a football
How much
game.
work goes into this?
Yeah. So I think next year my concern is that stuff like they've introduced the Ted Lasso team in this. They're really pushing the monetization, all of that sort of stuff. Next year, once they're free from FIFA, I think that's going to go.
It's
up.
going to be like cosmetics overdrive, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's going to be so much stuff.
I mean, right now, so you can do it with your player with not tattoos. Take tattoos for instance. It's not just you buy one tattoo. There's like right leg, left leg, right arm. Like body, and you can buy premium tattoos for every basic body
What's
part.
hilarious,
Then
Sean, is that you can get a tattoo on your leg, but in pro clubs, your socks cover it up. So you
That's
can't
why I
even
wear
see
short
it.
socks now in
Can
pro clubs
you-
with the tattoos.
Can you get a Stadia one?
No, unfortunately
Not
not.
yet. I mean, give them a week.
Yeah, a matter of time.
But yeah, I mean, it's easy to complain. But as David said, still immensely funny to play with your mates and had I had one night off, but I think we played it every night apart from one night since it came out last. We got early access. Was it Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah.
So we played most nights basically, and I don't want to stop playing it. But
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. But I at the end of every session of pro clubs, I say I never want to play this pile of shit game ever again. And then the next morning, I'm thinking I can't wait to play pro clubs tonight. That's the problem. It's not due to the game. It's due to the fact that it gets us all together in that sort of, it evokes that sort of football feeling, even though it's nothing like the fucking sport. Yeah, I don't know what to say. If you've hated FIFA in the past, you ain't gonna like this one. And if you've loved FIFA, then you've probably already bought it. I mean, so I don't know.
It's not like this year's got huge differences or improvements, at least to the mode we're playing. It's just more of the same, please.
More of the same, please. Here's one thing that I don't get. So pro clubs, you can design your own kit, right? I love designing our kit every year for our team, and they're legitimate templates from legitimate
clothing manufacturers.
Yeah. So we've got a Hummel kit, right? They're a kit designer, right? Why do those companies not say, "Hey, you've designed your pro kit, you could buy it from us"?
Yeah.
It's madness that they don't offer that as a service.
I'm sure they will next year.
I know, but they've had the chance to do it for years, and they've never done it. It's so mad. Oh man, because I'd buy our Hummel kit.
Oh, I would
it's well
absolutely
nice.
buy home and away kits. Yeah, I mean, basically kind of like Xbox, was it Game Lab, or for the controllers, or Nike do like Nike ID for trainers.
Yeah.
But they did. I remember in game they sold like shirts like that were like Ultimate Team shirts or whatever, that kind of thing. But not obviously in that amount of detail.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they did. They did have shirts that they were selling, but yeah, this was a while ago.
Yeah,
But that was just like the EA Sports FC branded stuff.
That's the one. Yeah.
Called EA Sports FC. I think I said to you a couple of years ago, I saw this FIFA top in town, and I was like, and then we kind of worked out, that's what next game's gonna be called. So anyway, what I'm fascinated about is, how different is it really gonna be next year? Is this year just like a bit of more of a down year while they're really focusing on developing the next game? I cannot wait to see what next year's like. I'm having a big face, but how different is EA Sports FC 24 going to be from what we're playing now? Who knows? But
they have improved one thing with pro clubs though. You can actually level up now. So by the end of the last game, Sean, my character was level 11, right?
Right.
I got up to level 10 in the first month,
Mm-hmm.
and then from then all the way up to last week, I'd only got up to level 11. I'm currently like level 27 on
Oh wow.
on the current one was like within a week. So they sorted that issue out at least. At least we're getting not that you care. Sorry everyone, that's enough FIFA
All
from
right,
us.
it's fine.
That's enough FIFA from us. You don't need to hear any more of that. And that's all I've been playing. But I'm excited, Matt. You also have another game down. Been playing Tinykin.
I have. It was on my list after you all spoke so highly about it, and I played it and finished it, and I really, really enjoy it. I mean, I think you, David, because I rewatched our kind of footage about it afterwards, and you said it's like Game of the Year contender. Not for me, but still immensely enjoyable. As like a kind of collector fun 3D platformer. And all the things you're saying about it's basically quality of life, like the game, like everything about this game is making it as easy for you, as least stressful, as least annoying, least irritating. Even bits where I thought, okay, is this going to start becoming a bit more of a stress? It wasn't like that. So you get one of these tiny games, like the yellow ones, and you can use them to build bridges. And there are a bunch of items which you often have to take from one end of an area to another. And on one area is massive, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to basically wait for the, say, like a piece of corn or whatever it is. I'm gonna have to take it over a bridge and then like remove the bridge and run to the next bit, quickly make the bridge before maybe it falls off the edge and it like, oh, I have to do this whole thing again. Like you got to do it in one fell swoop from top to bottom, but no. Like, you know, the Tinykin carrying the object, you're taking from one end to the other, just stop. So even that, I was like, okay, like that's clearly another quality of life thing. I bet they probably tested it where, like, no, the Tinykin keep on walking, and if you haven't built the bridge in time, then you got to do it again or whatever. But yeah, like so many things. Just I love the fact that, you know, just hold down right trigger, the green Tinykin, like build the ladder or
my
whatever you
favourite.
called it. Yeah, I love
Yeah, it's
that.
great, isn't it?
Lovely.
I know, Sean, you were saying like, oh, the electric ones weren't so fun, and they're a bit definitely more kind of finicky because these are the ones that basically enable you to connect electricity from, say, like a plug to a wire, what's often like a socket to a wire, and but then like you drop a blue one, and then you have like a limited kind of amount of like, length before you can like drop another one to basically create a chain, and that wasn't always like obvious, like where exactly, like okay, that far. No.
Well, it always annoyed me. It was like when, like, everything else you were excited to use. Hey, yeah, I'll use this one. Yeah, let's do this. That one, it was like you get to the plug and it would say you need 40, and I was like, oh,
Actually,
take
that's the only
ages.
one where it kind of wasn't quality of life. Like all the others are so kind of instant and easy, and you don't have to think, and it just does. It almost feels like what that needed was you just hold down the button, and it would automatically drop them up the optimal length.
On the right length.
It feels like that one they just didn't add the quality of life, but all the others do. But yeah, I mean, I think the music is lovely. I think you were saying, you know, not only are there like different musical kind of themes for each of the areas, each of the rooms you go into the game, but even the areas of the rooms you go into.
Banjo-Kazooie, man.
It totally brought back kind of old, like, and you know, N64 platformer kind of vibes. All the music is fantastic throughout. Graphically, yeah, it doesn't do anything too special, but it kind of the important thing again, Dave, as you mentioned. I'm not exactly like expecting ray tracing and stuff, but what you can see is you can see from one end of a huge area to another, and that makes such a difference. There's no like fogging, there's nothing like kind of clever camera tricks to kind of, I don't know, either fake where you can see or this and the other. You can see from one, you know, from the bottom of, you know, a room all the way to the top, and these levels feel so expansive, but you know, graphically, it does exactly what it needs to do. Yes, a couple of performance issues, but you know, whatever, you kind of get over that. But yeah, I'm really glad I played it. I got everything basically apart from the pollen. So did every side mission and
The pollen was really hard to find.
Collected every you know, every kind of trinket, whatever they're called. And I may go back and do the pollen, but yeah, I just thought it was a lovely game. Not for me something up with like a game of the year, but I thought, yeah, like just a lovely experience. And I think I spent like 13 or 14 hours in. I know you could probably do it a lot quicker, but yeah, I was just enjoying playing it and enjoying the environment and make sure I wanted to collect everything. And yeah, great game.
Absolutely gotty material. Did you complete it, Sean?
I did, yeah. I've not got everything. Because it was really bittersweet because it's the first time. I mean, Isaac's finished like the Paw Patrol game and shit, right? But this was the first game like we finished it together, and he was like gutted that it was over.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I had that.
Yeah.
I had that with Psychonauts 2 with Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got really upset when that game was over because it was like,
can't go there anymore, you know.
Yeah.
So I said, you're right. Well, I'll keep it on, and we'll go back and like 100% everything. He hasn't asked for it since, so maybe he wasn't that torn up about it. But so yeah, I do want to go back and like get everything. Maybe not all the pollen, but
yeah, doing all the other side stuff's really cool. Cracking.
I'm
game,
surprised we
man.
don't see more of these kinds of games. And maybe we had other games, say like Ukulele, that wanted to ape the feelings we had when we played Banjo-Kazooie, etc. And I played a bit. I didn't really probably get into that, but this also feels very kind of harks back and classic 3D platform.
And I think it's because it's hard to do those sorts of games really well.
Yeah.
And that's why there's not many of them. It's
That's exactly.
Because like this game, I think is a perfect example of it. It kind of feels effortless. Like they've made it easy and fun, and it looks great, and the music's great, and it's really compelling to collect everything. And it's nice to speak to all the various people you meet in the environment. It's like this feels. Why is this not made more? Why are people not making more of this? But I guess what great design is, it feels effortless, and
there's actually like tons of like rigorous play testing and smart design decisions and everything. All
definitely,
that lead.
And, I love the fact there's no combat. It was just pleasant to talk to everyone. It's just a pleasant experience from minute one, really. So yeah, I fully recommend it. And what a fantastic game.
Not Gotti though. Weird. All right. Let's go, Sean.
Hello. I've played, so a lot of these are going to be quick, and then there's a big one at the end. So I'm a couple of hours into Return to Monkey Island. Really enjoying it. I
was kind of put off by Matt. I was going to buy it this week, but then Matt's lack of enthusiasm towards it.
Yeah, same here.
I've been proper enjoying it.
I said I was enjoying it, but the ending kind of made me feel...
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the ending yet. Maybe I'll hate it. I don't know.
But I did say, David and James, I enjoyed it throughout. It's just at the end, for me personally, it's different.
You sounded pretty down on it last week.
It's also just it's also the fact of how much it costs as well. It's like
it's like 20 odd quid.
Yeah, and you think, and after I heard, like that it's not very, very good. I was like, maybe I'll wait for a sale.
Well, all the reviews say it's very, very good. It's just me. It's got an 88.
You should be happy. You should be happy. We trust your opinion.
Who do you like most, me or Matt?
Exactly.
Like everything Matt was saying, like, no, it's not like laugh out loud funny, but it's very charming, it's very amusing. Again, it's been a nice one to play with Isaac because it's all voiced. Like, obviously he doesn't get like a lot of the puzzles and stuff, but like, he's basically just sort of been sitting with me and essentially watching it as like a cartoon, right? There's been like a couple of the puzzles have sort of maybe rolled my eyes a bit. Can I describe one without spoiling? Basically, there's a puzzle where you get an item and you're like, aha, this is going to solve the puzzle. And then you go and it turns out it's not enough, right? It's not enough to solve the puzzle. And so you're like, oh shit, so right, I must need something else. And basically it turns out the solution is to go back to where you got the first one and just get another one. And it's like, right, that's not fun, is it? Other than that, I've been really enjoying the puzzles, and like Matt was saying, the way the hint system works is really elegant. In that it's because obviously we've seen in plenty of other adventure games this sort of tiered hint system where it's like it starts off very vague, then gets more and more specific, and then ends with like just go and do this. But obviously, in a game like this, you're going to have like 4 or 5 objectives at any one time. So yeah, the fact that it has a list of things like like I think I need to do this, or I think I need to do this, or this, or this, and you can pick one of those and then dive into each one of those.
Yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah, really nicely done. The only thing that did annoy me is there's a character early on who tells you loads of interesting things about the anchors on ships, and that's the tutorial for how to skip dialogue. Yeah. Because the joke is that it's really boring, and I'm like, no, fuck off. This is cool. I like this.
Yeah, I like that. Because I did that. I did skip after a while, and I was like, okay, no, I've done the thing it wanted me to do.
Yeah.
That's quite funny.
So really enjoying it overall.
How are you getting on with like the trivia cards and stuff?
I've done a few of them. I've not again because I'm playing with Isaac. I've not had time to like stop and really look at them because I know it's boring for him.
I think that's a lovely addition as well.
It is a really nice idea. Do they unlock anything, or is it just fun to do?
Not on their own. I mean, maybe if you do all of them, but no, it's just like a nice to have. And yeah, I guess it rewards people who know the franchise inside out, or just play this game a lot, or characters and whatnot. So it's just really, just again really compelling, really interesting thing to add to the game.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by the you mentioned the writer's cut option, or whatever it is. I think that's what they call it. Because I didn't realize it. Like apparently it's like the original script, right? And which was then sort of refined, basically. So similar to a director's cut, it's probably worse in some ways. Like there's a reason things were cut out. But yeah, apparently there's some like entire characters that are missing from the apparently. So I'm sort of intrigued, but again, like not intrigued enough to like, I'll do a second playthrough with that turned on. Probably not.
Oh yeah, so I never even like I turned the switch on, but I assume is it going to ask you to do a whole new playthrough? It's not like an on-off switch.
Yeah, I don't think so, because I guess it completely alters the flow of certain things. Maybe I don't know. And I like the fact there's the 2 difficulty modes as well. There's like, look, do you just want a fun story with some puzzles, or do you want to play the full fat
I love that. I think that's great because this is the thing. I really really like narrative games and stories and stuff like that, and that was one of the things that one of the reasons I loved point and clicks when I was growing up. But then I always found the puzzle element was the thing that I kind of enjoyed the least about them.
It varies, doesn't it? As with a lot of puzzle games, it's just that issue of like, can you get in the designer's head and can you operate on their sort of level of logic? And if you can, you're laughing. And and I've had plenty of moments with this where I've had sort of a bunch of elements that I'm like, fucking something's missing. What is it I need? And then it clicks, and it's like, yes, now I can do these like 5 things, and like that's like a great feeling. Like there's been quite a few moments of that already.
But I mean, like calling that hard mode, because some in the studio who was playing it first, they're like, before I like started it, she said, it's like casual or hard mode. I'm like, I'll probably go casual. But then the casual is basically no puzzles, right? So
I don't know exactly.
Hard mode is the game as you would expect it to function with the puzzles and whatnot, and with a great hint system. I would only ever, only ever recommend doing hard mode and playing it the way it's supposed to be, but using the hint system.
Well, this is it. Yeah, like when it's saying like, hard mode, which has like all the puzzles in it. At no point does it say on that screen like, but please be aware there is a really comprehensive hint system.
Yeah.
Which is probably quite useful.
Don't go in saying, hard sounds a bit difficult. Go casual, because I feel like you're robbing yourself of a really great experience.
So if you do get it, James, and so far I would say you should, you go hard mode, but just allow yourself the hint system, basically.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah,
cool.
So yeah, enjoying that. I've also been playing Deathloop because that's out on the Xboxes now.
Yes, it is.
I'll tell you what, it's another game that I'm like playing it on the Series S. I'm just like, 250 quid this console cost me.
He loves a bargain.
Beautifully, like it's incredible.
It's like when you get trainers for dirt cheap, and when you go out, look, fucking hell, they've got the air bits in them. These,
you got these from the outlet village, mate.
20 quid. 20 quid.
What has been really nice, because I think one of the reasons I struggled with it when I first tried to play it on PC. I mean, as you know, I struggle to play stuff on PC anyway. I just don't really like playing stuff at my desk. Is I don't know, like it stressed me out. Like the combination of trying to get my head around what the fuck is going on, and also being good at quite an involved shooter with all the different abilities and stuff. Don't know, just found it a bit much. Whereas going back to it, I've like the accessibility options are fucking mint. Like I've literally just gone like, right, the really generous auto aim, 1-hit kills, make basically all our enemies drop the best loot. And it's
okay.
So I've done like one day where I've just hoovered up loads of amazing stuff, and now I'm gonna pull it back again and be like, right, let's make it a bit more probably how it's supposed to be played. But just having that freedom to just be like, right, I've got some cool guns and some great add-ons for them and stuff, and I've got a couple of slabs. And I feel like I've got a proper foot in the door now, and I've been able to engage more with the overall structure of it and what's going on and who people are, because I'm not stressing about dying and losing progress.
That's good.
So it's been really nice.
Combat-wise, the only place I really struggled was one very specific area. Maybe because I was trying to do it a certain way. But generally, I think the combat's quite kind of...
What area was that?
It was the party.
Yeah, I had the.
Well,
I
I
had
knew
the
'cause I
same
was
thing.
trying to stealth it. Maybe if I'd gone on All Guns Blazing, it would be different. But I was like, I know.
Well, that's what is funny is I'm playing it James Farley style. I'm just not stealthing at all now. And it's
Yeah,
so
but
much
there's
more
one
enjoyable.
area
really
where
good
you
time,
specifically have to stealth, and that was where it started to turn for me. Because I was enjoying the combat and I was enjoying, getting more and more powerful as I was going through it. Really liked the characters, story seemed cool. And then the first time where I was like, I'm not sure about this is the bit. Well, there's an area that you have to stealth because if you don't,
right.
you die. B, well, there is no B. You die if you don't stealth it properly.
Right, okay.
And I went, okay, not happy about that. And then slowly the wheels came off. Like the intrigue went for me, and that's when I thought, I don't know. I felt like, and especially when it was like, no, you got to kill these people a second time because you had to get something else out of them after getting your initial weapon or whatever.
Right.
We get upgraded stuff.
Yeah, you
upgraded
get
stuff,
upgraded
and I was kind of
characters,
like, I don't know. The wheels sort of fell off. It didn't feel like a time loop game to me anymore after that, and that was what I wanted. That's what I went in wanting.
It's absolutely not the game I thought it would be. It's not the open-ended, you can kind of create your own path to the ending, or it's not that actually at all. And maybe
it's real
kind of
objective based. Isn't it?
It's quite prescriptive actually. In the way that you have to achieve, to finish it. But
still absolutely loved it. I mean, I loved everything. I mean, like the music, the style, like how it looked. The gunplay was awesome. I loved all the.
Well, this is
weapons,
it. Like
the tools. It's not open-ended. It's not what I thought it would be. But once I acclimatized and realized what the game actually is, still absolutely loved it from start to finish.
Yeah, because and again, sort of putting all the easy mode stuff on, kind of feels thematically appropriate because because it's got that sort of 60s, 70s spy thriller sort of vibe, and it's like like when the music kicks in and you're just like bang, 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 they're fucking shooting people on rooftops with a pistol, and it's great. It's so much fun. So yeah, Deathloop, one year on, good. Also played a bit of Grounded. This
why?
Is what do you mean? Why?
Well, everyone's playing it.
It's been out for ages, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's just hit 1.0.
1.0 last week.
Yeah, this is like the first full release.
Okay, sure.
It's well good. If you're not aware, this is the one. You sort of co-op survival game where you are some kids in the early 90s who've been shrunk, and you're in a garden. You're in someone's front garden, and everything's huge. Ladybirds are like absolutely fucking massive. You're like fighting with ants and stuff. And there are massive spiders in it, and they are terrifying. There are options to make them look less scary, but they're still terrifying in gameplay terms. So I don't know. Like I was saying, like, so I was playing it with Chris and Cammy, and they were like, "Oh yeah, have you changed it so the spiders look less threatening?" I'm like, "No, because they are still really threatening, and I need to be able to visually register them as a threat." Do you know what I mean? Like,
you turn to a giant ball, but then that's not going to help when it comes like shooting the legs off and stuff, is it?
Exactly. Like, I need to be able, because obviously, because you're running around and there's like grass everywhere, but obviously stalks of grass are absolutely huge. So you're constantly sort of half looking sort of into the distance and looking for sort of weird movement ahead. So the fact that they look and move like real spiders makes them like easy to spot because it sets off my fucking survival instincts, right? So it's useful to keep them at their original appearance, even though that is terrifying to me.
Sean, how easy is this game to like get into?
Oh,
like,
so
in terms of
like really easy. So when we started playing it, I think a couple of us had like done the tutorials and stuff, and then I can't remember, it was either Chris or Cammy joined us, and they basically hadn't really touched it. And it's like 5 minutes of tutorials, and you've pretty much got the gist of it. You basically you gathering materials. There's these little like science terminals, right, where you analyze the materials you found, and then it's like, right, here's a bunch of stuff you can make with those materials. And then as it progresses, so that there is like a central quest line where you're supposed to be finding these little bunkers, right, with science stuff in them, and eventually that will allow you to get blown back up to full size. But also there's just your day-to-day survival. So obviously you need food, you need water, and it's really nice. It's like, well, how do you get water? Well, every night time, all the dew forms on the grass. So you're just like looking up, and you're like, all right, yeah, blob of water there. Whack the grass with an axe or whatever. Blob of water falls down. You'll run over and like suck it up. It's cool. And it's little touches like, and we were laughing about this when we were playing it because it's like, well, how else would you do it? But the fact that like when it's there's markers on your HUD for like objectives or whatever, and the distance is in centimeters. Like, well, of course it is, but it's just I don't know, little nods like that. It's like, yeah, fair dues. That's quite funny. And then you get into like proper base building, right? You can build your own little fortress, which we are doing at the moment.
It saves from, so you all load into the same game and stuff.
Well, this is what's really interesting, because obviously that was our first worry. Because I was like, right, how does it work? Like, does someone just start a game and then you invite your friend in, and then like whose save file is it, etc.
Yeah.
We were really worried that was going to be a mess, and it's kind of this sort of really interesting, low-tech but incredibly useful way of doing it, where basically, so you start a new game, but you make it a shared world, and then you can just pick like a small number of friends to share it with. So then, effectively, that world is stored in the cloud, and anyone can access it. And then you can join each other.
How's that old school then? That sounds amazing. That's
like a
like
Minecraft.
Well, do you know what I mean? But it's not. It's not like a persistent server or anything. It's just essentially you just kind of swapping the save round dynamically. But it works like really well. So that was really smart. So we had like an evening on it that ended up going till about 1 a.m. and we were like, we need to play more of this. This is really nice. So yeah, probably
love that.
Might try and do a stream of it at some point.
Yeah, definitely
really
get
nice.
that stream.
Another quick one, Walkabout mini golf. There has been another new course.
What's the theme?
This one is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Okay.
Which, initially I was like, all right, how's that going to work? Dave, it's fucking amazing. It's proper good.
The game is just stunning. Like, it's just every time I go into it, I'm like, this is it's just so good.
Yep. It's like so apparently they're doing this is going to be like a trilogy of Jules Verne novels. We're assuming Journey to the Centre of the Earth and Around the World in 80 Days. I guess they haven't announced the other two, but that's the guess. It's all in the submarine basically, and you start off like in a smaller like a little bathysphere, sort of drifting over to the main ship. And it's like sort of eerie as fuck, but then when you get into the ship, it's like totally like luxurious, right? It's absolutely beautiful, the interior of the ship, and just and like when you obviously you press the button to get like the aerial view of the course. I was like, oh yeah, shit. Well, how's that going to work? Because you can't see any of it from the outside. Yeah, you go to the aerial view, and it's like a cross section of the ship. It's like cut out, and
That's
you can
amazing.
see all the floors and everything. It's like, fuck, man, this is so good.
So the is there a button yet to just go, I want everything? Give me all of that, because I think we're gonna end up doing that.
Like all the DLC
that are out. Yeah.
I don't think there is. They're still just like £2.40 each or whatever.
Yeah, I just want to go. Yeah, just give them all.
Well, this is what we were saying. Like, if they would just said like, oh look, 50 quid and you can have everything we'll do forever. Like,
yeah, for sure, absolutely. It's funny because I was chatting to my friend Chris about it. This was when we were playing it. We need to go back to it, but we're playing other things at the moment. We were saying, you buy one because you can share it, right? So only one of you needs to have bought it. So we were like, oh, you buy that one, and I'll buy that one, and you buy that one, and then we found out that you don't get the balls. And we were like, well, we're just both going to buy it then. Both buy all of it. Because, hunting around for the balls on each course is brilliant. We haven't done any of the hard mode stuff yet.
Oh, man, they're really good. The riddles are
we
really
will
good.
do it. We will do it eventually. We're just working through the things, but then we haven't played it for a while. It's just, it's incredible. I wish the headset was a little bit lighter so that it didn't kill my neck after one round, but...
Yeah, because when you're looking down the whole time, it's
just such a good game, and it's amazing how much effort they're putting into these new courses. It's so good.
Yeah, man, we should do that.
Well, what is it? In fact, maximum 4 players. What's
5, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 5.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, Ian's been calling out to play Walkabout mini golf with us. Let's just do it one Saturday evening or whatever.
5 us on? Yeah.
And Ben is saying in the chat we need another stream of it.
Absolutely, we will. Because
Yeah, I like to
paywall as well. So actually doing a live one would be fun.
So yeah, the big one is I have been playing Bonelab on the Meta Quest 2. So this is the sequel to Boneworks, which was a PC VR only title. And yeah, this one is out on the Quest as well. I played a bit of the original. I knew it was very well thought of. I hadn't had the VR headset for long, and it's not an easy one to play if you haven't got your VR legs yet. So I found it made me quite sick.
To say, I'm watching game footage now, and it looks horrific.
Yeah, it's kind of. So yeah, I didn't play enough of the original to be like, oh, here's what's new and different in the sequel. So I'm just going to talk about the sequel and what, how I found it. It is this really uncompromising, like, because obviously with VR games a lot of it is still around comfort because so many people are still adjusting to it. A lot of games can still make you feel a bit sick if you're not careful. Bonelab it doesn't give a fuck, and it's quite open about that. Like, there's like a comfort warning on the store. It's like, no, this is like the most extreme thing you'll play. And it is just kind of this experiment in like, well, what if we stopped caring about that stuff? What could we do, right? And it's on the surface of it, like you watch videos, watch trailers and stuff. It's like, oh, it's a shooter, it's a first-person shooter, right? Yes, but also with like a really sophisticated physics engine and like massive mod support and just the weirdest structure to a game I have probably ever seen.
What do you mean structure? What's up with the structure?
So you how do I explain without spoiling it? Because the discovery of it is quite fun. But is it? Actually, no, because I had a phase where I was like, is this it? I think this might be the whole game. And like a friend of mine who's also playing it, he's like, I don't think there's a campaign. I think this is just what it is. So you start the game, and like very sort of brief, sort of, I guess you could call it a tutorial. It's just like, here's some stuff to grab, and you sort of understand how it works, and then you start by like basically you're in this like medieval village and you're being hanged, right? And you're like, and you have to put the noose like around your neck. Probably could have used a content warning for that, to be honest. Thought that was a bit extreme.
Yeah, that's a bit extreme, isn't it?
Whatever. You don't actually get hanged, obviously. Wouldn't be much of a start to a video game otherwise. And then as you like, you're going through these tunnels, and then almost straight away there's like visual elements are like completely incongruous with the medieval stuff, right? You start seeing like pipes and lights and stuff and doors, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And it's and you make your way through like a bunch of areas, and then it goes from like, you're fighting skeletons with a sword to like, oh, now I have a gun and there's people shooting at me, and then you find your way to this like hub area, right? And it's kind of, I can't remember if it's like explicit about this or if this is just the conclusion I came to, that you are in like at this you're in like the testing area of this virtual world that like some developers were making, right? Like that's the narrative. In that you're in this experiment effectively, and in a way, because everything looks a bit not like half finished, but like as if they just got a load of like default like Unity assets and threw stuff together, right? But that's the point. Like that's the narrative. That's what it's doing on purpose. So yeah, you get to this hub area, and then there's like these like 6 different things. So like one's like an arena, so that's like your melee combat. One's like a shooting focused one. One's like a parkour section, and then there's like an experimental one.
That's the one that looks like, oh my god, I don't think I'll be able to handle that.
Yeah. And basically, and so yeah, and for a while we thought that was it. We're like, well, this is the game. There's all these different things you can do. There's leaderboards, and like, oh, this is pretty cool.
It's just like a testing ground to just like mess around in and like try and get high scores and that kind of thing.
Yeah, but basically there is and what is not initially obvious, but you'll grasp it. Like it's pretty well signposted when it's time for you to move on. That whole area like is a puzzle, which then unlocks like the rest of the campaign, and it's just I don't know. It's like we've talked before about VR games being like transportative in that way, that like when you take the headset off and you're just like, fuck, I've been somewhere else. Like, it's one of those. It's the first VR game that I've played on my own until the battery runs out.
Oh,
and I'm
wow.
like, I have to stop now because
That's
I've run out of
that's
time.
every single time we use the Quest.
In it.
Well, I do, like, obviously multiplayer sessions run out of battery all the time. But single player, usually I'll do 30-40 minutes and I'll be like, right, I'm sort of done. Whereas this is like, fuck, can't believe my battery's run out again, and I want to carry on. Like there's, in terms of the comfort and feeling motion sick and stuff, generally I've been okay. There's been a couple of sections that like I had to stop and lie down on the floor.
What
Afterwards. There's a minecart section.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's so stupid. Walkabout mini golf when you're in the when you go like teleport onto that raft.
Oh yeah. And
So you're like,
oh. Yeah.
But speaking of motion sickness,
Mhm.
I got it during Tinykin.
Did you?
really?
Now this is weird, right? I'm actually getting quite concerned because I got with motion sickness playing Rollerdrome, and I was like, it's not a VR game. What the hell's happening there? Maybe it's all like looking up and down. I don't know. And then again, I'm not sure if I was, I don't think I was hungover. Maybe I've been tired, but whatever. I was like playing for a bit. I was like, God, I feel quite rather unwell. What is this? And my only assumption is like motion sickness from Tinykin. Now, I know the camera's quite loose in that. You can look all over the shop and up and down, but I was like, this better not be my future where I'm playing like non-VR games.
You know
three
one thing I noticed about Tinykin, and I wonder if that is why you have motion sickness. I would play that game for like an hour, and I don't think I looked at the character once.
Mm-hmm.
I was always looking through the character, not even looking at what the character was doing.
I know what you mean.
It's
Yeah, I
really
guess I was looking at the
strange.
environment, but
Yeah, maybe you're looking at the
I
environment.
suppose because in
Very- I
Tinykin,
was
the
like-
character is 100% always in that same spot, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah.
I don't know. I was like, man, this is gonna worry. Just like, was it rolled was like 2 months ago? Like twice in 2 or 3 months now. Like, tell me this is not.
It does
You're
happen.
getting
I
old.
think.
Well,
Getting old, mate.
Deathloop on the default like control settings made me feel weird.
Vomiting everywhere.
And it's the
Proper spraying.
the way that like when you push the stick, it sort of the movement starts slow and then speeds up.
Yeah.
I have to turn that off. That makes me feel weird.
Oh,
Right.
right. Okay.
So yeah, it's a thing. People people do get motion
Weird.
sick just from not 3D but on a screen games. But I think it's still pretty poorly understood why that happens. But
Yeah.
But you
yeah.
it sounds like you enjoyed this game. I mean, I
Yes.
haven't played it, but it's lots of people were excited about it. Obviously, because the previous one on PCVR was just loved by so many people for the modding and like the cool things you can do in it. But
Well, this is
it sounds like
and
you're
it's
enjoying it.
like I'm loving it, and and the story's interesting. I don't really know what's happening yet, but it's this sort of, it's not so much breaking the fourth wall as just like completely forgetting that the fourth wall is a thing. Like there's like people in the story are talking about like doing like glitches and stuff, and I found that if I like stuck my head in this one light fitting, it like catapulted me through the wall and stuff, and like characters in the game are just like acknowledging that stuff, right?
But is that something you as a player can do, and then it catapults you?
Well, I don't
Or-
know, not tried it yet.
Okay.
But it's and it's like there's like this one character that's like obsessed with like finding glitches and speedrun tactics and stuff. It's very, very weird. And yeah, there's the whole mod section, and like as you say, like the mod scene for the original was huge. This is only going to be bigger, I think. There's already like Mario Kart mods and stuff for it.
Yeah, I
like,
saw the go-karting ones. Yeah.
yeah, and like the extent to it. Well, what's fascinating is the extent to which you can mod it is huge. Like to the point that like the game says like if you're installing mods that we haven't looked at or approved, like you might lose your save game. Like this could break the game. You might have to delete everything and reinstall it. So please be careful. But also like I watched a video review where this guy's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I've imported my VR chat avatar into the game, and I can play in my VR chat. And it's again like, oh yeah, please tell me again why we need like NFTs to do this stuff, right? But it's just it's absolutely fascinating. A weird game that just totally commits to this one thing, even though it's probably going to make a lot of people feel sick. And like the fact that like the physics are so accurate to the point that it's quite jarring sometimes. Like you might be, so say you're like, you're pressing buttons or levers on a control panel, and suddenly like your view's sort of pulling to one side or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, it's because I've accidentally like rested my arm on one bit of and it's like, so it's pulling me around. But so it's stuff like that you kind of don't want it to do, but also you're like, well, yeah, that is what would happen if I put my arm there, and it's it's weird. Really like it. I might try and do a stream of it just to try and hopefully better demonstrate.
Setting up about 4 or 5 streams for you.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, we've already got a busy week as it is.
Racking them up. Right, is that all you got for us this week?
That is all I've got. Is that not enough?
It is more than enough, mate. Love it. James, you got Elden Ring. Is there much to say?
Not really. I mean, I haven't played anything over the last week really, apart from when I got back, I played Elden Ring on Sunday. I played. Yeah, it's. Oh man, it's so good. It's still so good. This is the thing. It's just like I'm on a roll now with it, and to the point where I can't stop playing. Where it's like, I haven't had this for a long time. Where it's like I stop playing and think, okay, I'm done now. I'm done. And then I go off to like, I don't know, go to bed and like brush my teeth or whatever, and then I'm just like, do you know, I could go and play a bit more. Actually, I could do a bit more. And it's not just like the level of exploration and finding new stuff. That is brilliant. All that stuff's really good. But I'm just having a lot of fun building my character as well, and just making it into what I want it to be, and like what it is now. And I'm at the stage now with my character where I feel like I can take on things now, like and not feel like really, really intimidated by anything. I mean, I'm going back and just like slaughtering stuff that I was finding really difficult, like to begin with, and it feels so satisfying to be able to do that, and to feel that I've really made progress with the game, and it's just so good. I mean, I don't really want to say much more because I want to say
the hands bit yet.
Yeah, I've done all that. Yeah, that was.
So James is now. Yeah, we're now in sync, aren't we, James? I think.
Yeah, I'm in the Land of the Giants, whatever that.
You've made it to Land of the Giants now.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Okay, I
know
you're ahead of me now then. Cool.
Yeah,
no, I do want to go back.
Sean's fuming.
It's absolutely stunning up there. Honestly, it's like it looks incredible, and just. But again, just keeps on throwing new stuff like constantly at me, and it's just. Oh, it's so good. It's
really interesting to say, you're loving it because you've got a build you really like. I'm 40 hours in, and I still feel like I'm just like don't even know what my build is. Nothing really feels great, and maybe that's what kind of stopped me going back. I feel like I'm still waiting to feel like, where do I even go to find out the build I need? Do I just have to look up guides and say go here, get that armor? Like, I just feel like I'm constantly under the cosh. Haven't really found something I really love.
Yeah, I was quite lucky in that I found a sword and was like, right, I am going to respec for this because this is too cool not to. And then that sort of got me through, basically.
See that, and that's what happened to me, really, because it's like because I was a samurai and I'd started off with like the katana that you get with that, which is very good. Like you can upgrade that like quite a high level, and it's brilliant. But then as I played it on the stream, I think it was one guy, I think it was Nicky G, I think was the name. He like recommended going for I think it's this one which requires like dex but also like intelligence as well. Yeah. And then it like fires out this like beam of like light, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
and so I went for that, and I've fully upgraded that now. So it's like at the top level. I've been just putting all my stuff into like dex and into intelligence and stuff, and it's scary the amount of damage it does now, which is
that's
amazing.
the feeling I want to like. I mean, I won whatever weapon I've got is up plus.
You want the end game stuff too early. That's what you want.
Yeah.
I think.
And that's what I found the best thing to do was to like find this weapon that you want, and then just like upgrade it as much as possible.
Yeah.
And then it gives you it makes things a lot simpler. I mean, I got stuck for a very long time on Sean, those twin gargoyles.
Yeah.
The ones that I got stuck on that for ages, and then I basically did it by over leveling myself, I think, so that it just became not difficult anymore.
Because you're not summoning at all.
Well, this is the thing, because I also got the mimic tier as well, which that's brilliant.
Very good.
So what this is like it's a summon that summons yourself, basically, like another version of you. And so, especially when you're fighting two people at the same time, it's great because one of them will go for that and one will go for the other. But yeah, it's
Can't imagine that much cynicism and sarcasm
And sex
together,
appeal.
just doubling up. Yeah, it's a shame. I'm never going to complete that game. I can't imagine what it's like completing it. I bet it feels absolutely incredible completing that game, because when you play a game for quite a length of time, it really feels like a journey to get to that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, you must be looking back at, like, say, Margit now and just thinking that feels like it was decades
like a year ago.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah,
it feels like that, and it does feel like that a lot.
It's weird, isn't it? Because like when there's like a new open world game and the sort of the claims about how big the map is start flying around, and you're like, yeah, all right, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's hard to explain quite how vast Elden Ring feels.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
dense.
Yeah.
Dense.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see. I mean, obviously, there's going to be another one of these, isn't there? Probably. But what do you do? Because it's just enormous. Like,
I don't know. It's going to be such a hard game to follow up on.
Yeah.
I'd still like them to. I still think it'd be mad if they managed to pull off like a 10-hour experience somehow. I don't know how you do that without keeping to the core elements of those series. But
how many hours are you into it so far then, James? You must be like 60, 70 hours.
46 hours.
Oh wow.
At the moment.
Blind.
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah, I'm like twice that, and you're ahead of me. So.
Yeah, I was like 30 hours just
Are you
exploring.
following guides, James?
Yeah, I have used some guides. Yeah, especially
for like getting your build up and all that sort of stuff.
and absolutely do that, because it
100%.
makes things, because there's a lot of things that I think would be quite difficult to to figure out if you weren't, and it's
yeah, for sure.
And like I'm not
against the wall, wouldn't you?
like I'm not sitting here at 90 odd hours being like, oh well, I got the real experience. Like, no, I would have liked to have saved those hours if I could have. So
yeah, for sure.
So find a weapon you like and do that, Matt, because it's so good, honestly.
And it's always there, like every day I'm like, I need to get it finished or want to play it. I mean, I've loved every moment I've had playing it, but it's like I want to get it finished. It's kind of just constantly there, gnawing in the back of my head. But
I think like if you are going to go,
I've just accepted that I'm not going back to it.
Well, I was going to say, like, if you are going to go back to it, like don't go back to it thinking like I have to finish this. Like, just go back in the spirit of like I want to have something to say about this.
just think I just want to make some I'm going to make some progress.
I'm 20 hours in just before whatever, like 2 or 3 games ago, whenever that was. And again, like loved it, got to ride Lucaria, and just stopped because other games came out. But
okay.
Well,
that's what we've been playing this week. Let's do a few questions and then get out of here.
If you want to contact us, go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS. Little homie Dean says, I had a question prepared for...
My little homie Dean.
had a question prepared for TCGS Con North, but I shit the bed a little when James took to the floor with the mic.
Oh, no.
I do want to thank you, James, for getting me into the Yakuza series. The games are fucking stupid and are stuffed with side quests that are somewhat on the fucked up wild side. My question is this: if James was a quest-giving NPC within the gaming world of Yakuza, what would JCA Farley's fucked up wild quest line involve? Much love, appreciate you all.
Wouldn't he be that was it, the dancing dude in the underwear?
Who's a real person,
already
by
in
the
it.
way. I found out. Someone
What's
tweeted. Someone tweeted. There's like an interview with a guy, and he's sat there in his pants.
Oh, brilliant!
He's real.
Perfect. Go on.
Have I got to come up with my
No,
I
James. No,
assume
the question that's specifically aimed at
No,
you.
but I thought this was more of a like, this was you were going to come up with one for me, not that I'd come up with my own quest line.
Sit back. You don't need to do anything. It doesn't do anything.
It'd be something really naff, like he's lost all he's lost all his papers for his lecture. And you've got to go,
Actually, it would be something like that, and it's like like they're all at like different ends of a street, and then you go to pick it up, and oh no, a bird has caught it, and it's like flown off with it, and you've got to go and get them somewhere else.
He was doing yoga this morning before his lecture, and suddenly his back went, and now he's stuck in a T pose.
Yeah,
you've got to get a chiropractor to come and click him back into place. But first, you've got to take a photo of it for the Instagram. Okay.
Miriam Mendieta says, Dear TCGS.com. Speaking of potential stag do locations for James, the 4 of you at a soft play might just be the answer. If you had to make soft plays edgier but still kid-friendly, like Sonic, what would your redesign entail?
Can I, before we get into this,
Yeah.
James, this is what I thought you'd have loads of notes on our discussion last week about your potential stag do.
Yeah, but he didn't listen to it, Matt, so he doesn't know.
No,
I did listen
the
to it.
discussion took place.
I mean, I did like the idea of like just going to like arcade or whatever that Sean said. That'd be
Oh,
all right.
look at him! Look, he's rolling
Okay,
it
yeah.
out now. Look, he's getting. Is that an earpiece you got in there, James?
Yeah. They said arcade. They said arcade.
Shy. Oh, Shy don't listen to the podcast anyway, does he? What am I talking about? An edgier soft play. I think if there's one thing you don't want when you go into a soft play, is any sort of edge.
Edges.
I think
yeah.
I think the parents provide that by turning up. You see them just like turn out, walking through that fucking door, and you look over at the baby bit of the soft play, and you just feel sorry for them because we can sit at a table drinking coffee, right? They're sitting in that bit, just going,
Yeah.
just don't want to be here.
Everyone else.
I mean, I
looking at
just
their
think
phones.
the slides taller and bouncier.
Yeah,
That's
bigger
what I'm
slides.
Yeah, why? How about a flick at the end of the slides? You don't see
Yeah.
enough of that.
Oh, so you just.
Yeah, so you go, whoa.
It needs to be
into a
like
pulpit.
tailbone.
it needs to be more like Fall Guys.
No, into spikes.
More like
We're
Fall
doing it
Guys.
edgy, Matt. Straight into
Too
spikes.
edgy.
We say more like Fall Guys, James, like with like actual
Yeah.
like pitfalls and stuff.
There needs to be all like rotating things so that like you
Yes.
get smacked
Yeah,
in
like
the face
smacking
and
around
stuff
and
like
stuff,
that
yeah,
as
yeah.
you're trying to go through.
Love that.
I mean, I
People
know
check
this is rich
cannons.
coming from me, obviously, but a bar? Question mark?
I've seen. Oh no! Did I ever tell you this story? This is. I mean, this is bad. This is like, we're the dead sit together. We, Joe, one of Joe's friends. So Joe's got a bunch of friends that she used to work with, and they stayed friends for ages. And the husbands, they know each other, but they're not. I wouldn't say we see each other all the time. We don't hang out. We went to. It was one of their birthdays, and we went to this soft play, and all of the mums went on one table. So all of the dads sort of shuffled over and awkwardly sat down and said, "You're all right." And then I can't remember who. It wasn't me that suggested this, but one of them went, "Do you see that pub down the road? Like, it looked amazing, and we're stuck in here. What if we all just went?" And we went, "What? What if one by one we all just went to the pub?" And I went, "Well, I'm going first." So I said to Joe, "I'll just go to the toilet." I didn't. I walked out. I walked down the pub, went into the beer garden, ordered a drink, and I was sitting there. And I'd say every 15 minutes, one more dad entered that beer garden. And people started to realise in the beer garden what was going on because we were cheering, which meant any time someone walked into the beer garden and we went, "Way!" the whole beer garden went, "Way!" All of a sudden, all our mobile phones went off on our
Yeah, I'll bet.
"David, where are you?" "I'm in the toilet." To be fair,
Tommy.
they thought it was fucking hilarious and they joined us afterwards. But yeah, that was yeah. So bars in I mean bars in a fucking soft play would be the worst idea ever, right? Terrible.
I'm surprised I don't see more of that, but sorry for the reasons.
What, just like an adult soft play?
Well, no, I'm thinking like just yeah, a bar.
I hate the ones that don't have proper coffee. It's like you're not expecting like proper coffee in these places, but the ones where you drink it and you go, "That is a coffee flavored drink."
Dishwater.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? That is.
I basically stopped buying coffee in those places because it was just.
Oh, yeah, but
not
you
worth
find every now and then you find one that actually has a decent cup of coffee, and you're like, "Oh my god, we're coming here next week, Joe."
Next weekend sorted.
When I was away, I was away a month or two ago, and then on the way back up, we stopped in Oxfordshire and met up with a friend at a soft play, and like I could not believe how nice it was. And I was just like, "No, I think we might live in a deprived area." It's like this is just like a nice place to be. Never mind the soft place; it's a nice cafe. Like,
Yeah, there was one in Harrogate, which was like basically like essentially a hipster soft play. It was like It was basically built for Instagram. That had like amazing food. That did have amazing.
I hate that place
I mean,
already.
sadly, that closed down.
Oh, did it? Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like we had a
Should've kept it cheap and
birthday party
cheerful.
as well, but it's like, it was a high level of soft play.
Fuck that place.
Good shit.
Go on.
Gyroflow Oven says, hi all, really enjoying Marvel calls, and this week was Guardians of the Galaxy on the public feed. In that episode, David and James often started talking about the game, but stopped because, quotes, this is the wrong podcast to talk about that. Can I therefore ask here how David feels about the game's treatment of the characters now that he's seen the film? Thanks for every week. Appreciate you all.
I mean, it's kind of irrelevant, right? Because they're not linked. And I sort of get that now with Marvel, is that actually you can have the same characters, but it's a completely different take on them.
Yeah.
And look, there's a lot of similarities. I thought the most fascinating thing, looking back at my time with the game, is how I tried to sell Groot instead of Rocket at the start of that game.
Yeah.
Because had I have watched the film now, that would have influenced me the other way. The film would have influenced me. I would have sold Rocket. But I hated Groot in that game, especially at the start. It's just annoying. As I said on the podcast, like, he barely says "I am Groot" in that first film. Yet in the game, it's every 2 seconds. Also, it only just hit me the other day. Where did the flarking thing come from? Because in the game, Rocket says flarking instead of fucking constantly.
Yeah.
And I just assumed that was in the film as well. No.
It's not in it at all. No, I sort of retroactively assumed it must have been in the films, and I hadn't really noticed. But no, it's just not in them at all.
Have you not seen the films?
No, I've seen the films. That's what I mean. I didn't like playing. I played the game, like a couple of years after seeing the films, and was like,
yeah, I don't think flarking's in the films, but
Okay.
But look, I mean, I think I'm not going to give away what I thought of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but that was the moment where I went, oh, I like Marvel films. Like that was the one where I go, okay, no, I'm fully in. I'm not trying to like this. I like it. And for someone who really, really loved the games as well, and there always seems to be that argument about what you prefer, one or the other. I don't feel that way when I just appreciate them both on their own level, basically. Yeah.
MD Kraboff's quick one to end the show. What is the last thing you learnt?
Oh my God. What is the last thing I learned? Oh, Jesus.
Not to trust my son.
Oh, go on.
Go on. A deep one.
Wow.
Do you know what he did while I was away? So Chen said to him, "You've got to tidy your room because it's a massive pigsty, as it often is." And so he was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll do it. I'll get right on it." And so he went in there to do it, and then Chen went to knock on like Rachel's door to see what she was doing, and then there was this message came out that was like saying like, "I'm reading a book. Can you just like leave me alone or whatever for a bit?" Chen was suspicious, so she went into Rachel's room and then found Asher in there in her bed, like reading a book, and then she went into Asher's room and found Rachel in there cleaning his room, and it turns out that he had paid her money to tidy his room, and then had set up this whole thing so that they wouldn't get caught, and then like Rachel was like saying to Chen, she was like, please don't, like I want the money, like like don't change this. I don't mind doing it. I'm getting money out of this.
Very industrious. I appreciate that.
But
in this economy as well.
Yeah.
How much did you pay her?
That's the thing. €3.50. It's nothing. Like it's absolutely nothing. Like,
It should be like, Rachel, we need to have a chat about the value of your labour, mate.
Exactly.
Yeah. Have a little
like
bit
at
of
least
respect.
like €5 or whatever for that, because it's quite a significant job as well. Like not great.
That's brilliant. That is awesome.
Coming away from lessons for a bit, can I tell you a joke that Charlie told me, which blew me away when he told me it? I genuinely, Charlie, 3 years old, come out with this, and I was like, I could not love you more. Here's what he said to me, Sean. Ready? You do it. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Who?
Who?
It's the sound of the police. It's the sound of the bees. I was like, you're the best, because I listen to that song a lot. I like it. but I didn't expect him to come out with that. That was amazing. Anyway, going back to things I've learned.
I don't know what the last thing I learned is.
You can't buy cheap pork belly. That's
sounds about right.
Yeah, Joe said, "Oh, yeah, I know you like every now and then as a little treat, probably once a month. I'll have pork belly with a sauce on some rice. It's fucking delightful, right? It's my favourite meal. I really look forward to it." Joe was like, "I've bought some. They do it in Iceland. Now, I'm not against Iceland. I'm not against low budget, budget supermarkets. In fact, I prefer them for a lot of stuff, right? Because it's cheaper." But Joe said, "No, I've ordered these ones. They turned up, and honestly, they might as well have just been strips of bacon. And not only that, they were fucking disgusting." And so I sat there, and the next morning I went to Sainsbury's and bought. I like it. I said, "Right, I'm having that later. I'm having that it's still in the fridge at the moment. But don't skimp on your meat, I guess is what I'm saying. See that? Anyone else?
I can't think of anything. I don't, which
know
is awful
everything.
because it's like, I forgot, I've mastered everything. So I think what I'm saying is I haven't recently ventured outside of my comfort zones. Maybe I should change that.
Yes, you should.
What should I learn?
I'm learning German, but I'm not enjoying it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How far can you get now? What like you don't have to say anything, but how far can you get?
I mean, I can do being in restaurants and stuff, or in shops and buying stuff. Yeah, I can do all of that. That's
all of
okay.
the right pizzas. That's a step up.
Yeah.
I can ask where the train station is.
Okay.
Go on then.
Is the Bahnhof in the near? And then
I love the fact that the voice has to change.
Well, I tell you, that's the other thing. Is like Chen hates it when I do it because I do enjoy sometimes putting on an accent, and she gets really annoyed.
I mean, it's respectful to try and actually nail the accent. I mean, probably inevitably doomed, but
Yeah.
Matt.
I mean, I'm learning every day, obviously.
Can you learn how to stay in your position in pro clubs? That'd be the thing that
you can't contain genius on the field, David.
Okay, but
I want to get up front. It's more fun up front.
I'm not trying to contain genius.
It's way more fun up front, I've learned, rather than being.
It's not though. It's not. You've got to play a game up front. It's so dull, and you barely get an opportunity to do anything. And when you do,
I'm
if you
on the left
don't
wing,
score,
all the action's happening on the right wing, and like, what's the point of being it? I'll just run a bit, run back, run a bit.
I always love being on the wing. It's brilliant.
Yeah, we have Slush on the wing.
Not when the action's happening on the other wing.
You have Slush on the wing.
Yeah, well, yeah, we need to get you in the game, James.
I remember when there was a bit. I know this is more football stuff, but there was a bit where Matt nearly scored, and we were like, "Matt, you're out of position." He went, "Yeah, but I nearly scored." "Yes, but now they're attacking us down the left, and there's no one there, Matt."
There was another time where I was right up front, and I said, "What am I doing here?
Oh, that was so funny.
Why am I here?
Why am I here?
Yeah, I can't be contained.
I love it because Matt's attention drifts sometimes. So sometimes you're looking over and go, "Why is our left wing by their goal, even though the ball's in our half?" Because Matt's forgotten where he is in the pitch.
No, because I might have done a corner and didn't run on time. Anyway, what I've learned basically, if you want reels on Instagram are limited by 90 seconds. If you want to do a longer reel, post a reel as a post, and you can do up to 3 minutes. That's what I learned the other day.
Okay. Well, worth knowing.
What's the time limit on
social media heads out there?
What's the time limit on YouTube Shorts, Matt?
It has to be under a minute.
Fuckers.
Well, maximum a minute.
Oh, fair enough.
I was going to go viral then. And
never mind. Scuppered again.
That's it. Socials. Matt, what's up?
Yes. Well, it's very exciting, actually, because this Thursday, we're going to see the first teaser of the Super Mario Brothers movie trailer.
Yes,
we're going to be there. We're going to be there watching it live on Twitch to react to it. So I believe the times are correct. But yeah, from 10 to 9, the trailer goes live at 9. From 10 to 9, we'll be there to watch this trailer, react to it. But immediately after that, that might take only 15 minutes or so, or 25 if 10 minutes before. After that, James can be streaming some Elden Ring. So that could be 9:15, 9:30, I'm not sure. But straight after us doing a reaction to Super Mario Brothers movie teaser trailer, James will be there.
What if it's going to be one of those ones where it's the spinning cube and it just says Mario. Like, you know what I mean? Like those initial teaser trailer where it literally shows you fuck
Like
all.
a logo
like,
and
I'm gonna be fuming.
Yeah,
Or
I
it'll
don't
just be like a silhouette of like somebody in a hat.
We are gonna hear. I bet we're gonna hear something.
Yeah, surely we're gonna hear the voice.
Chris
Yeah.
Pratt's voice.
Even
I
if
think we're
it's
gonna
just
hear the
him-
voice, and it could be like 10, 15 seconds. But
I was
we'll hear
going to
something.
say, I reckon it'll just be him saying it's a me, and that's going to be it. That's going to be.
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
a
there's
me.
a lot of hype for that, but maybe
Oh,
Anyway,
I can't wait.
we
It's gonna be
we're
a fun
watching that
stream.
live Thursday night from 10 to 9. Straight after that, James for Elden Ring. No stream on Friday and no Sea of Friends, but there's the streams Thursday night. Go to twitch.tv/TCGS. Go to watch it live from 10 to 9 on Thursday. If you miss it live, go to our YouTube channel, search TCGS on YouTube, and you'll find our streams from there as well. If you're on Amazon Prime, connect your account with your Twitch account. You have a Twitch Prime game. You get 1 free sub every single month, and we really appreciate you going to our channel. Give us your free monthly sub. That means a lot to us. So thank you for that. If you've done it already tonight, or if you're doing it after you listen to this, the website is tcgs.co for everything else.
Thank you so much for living it. We will catch you next week for more video game chit chat. Have a good week, everyone. Life is getting shit, but we're all in it together. All right. Thinking of you all.
Want a big load of shit together, aren't we?
Your
Yeah.
friend, David Turnip. Night.
Night.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.